It is 6 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. Andrew Wiggins led the Golden State Warriors to a 104-94 victory over the Boston Celtics last night in Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Wiggins had 26 points on 12 of 23 shooting, 13 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 assists, and 1 block as Golden State now has a 3-2 series lead. The Atlanta Braves won their 12th straight game last night, defeating the Washington Nationals 9-5, but it came at a steep cost. Second baseman Ozzie Albies left in the 5th inning after he fractured his left foot. Suffered the injury in the batter's box on a swing. And the Titans begin mandatory minicamp today. Coach Mike Vrabel and assorted players and coaches will speak to the media following practice. You can hear those press conferences during the Buck Rising show today. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Welcome in, J. Martin Ramon, 104.5 The Zone on this Tuesday. It's a Taco Tuesday. It's a Turd Tuesday. It's the highs and the lows. It's a penthouse and the outhouse. And the outhouse to the penthouse. And you'll understand why I say that here momentarily. But 11-year NFL veteran Vol for Life, Ramon Foster and Jonathan Schaefer joining me as usual. As always. I'm Jason Martin at Ramon Foster at Schaefer on Sports. At JMart Radio, at JMart and Ramon.
We were right on point right there.
So why do you think I would phrase it that way?
Outhouse
From
to the
outhouse to the penthouse. From persona non grata to, sir, we'll find your table right over here in the VIP section.
It's because of Cleveland Browns?
No.
Oh. Well, that's close. It's real close.
What do you think, Schaefer? Why do you think I would say that?
Outhouse to the penthouse.
Or just your table is not here. We've lost your reservation to, sir, we have rented out the whole place for you.
I'm going to say Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals.
Andrew Wiggins.
Yes, sir.
Andrew Wiggins, who was everything at Kansas, right? He was going to be the guy. And he came into the league and it just wasn't there. Golden State and the NBA side-eyed the acquisition of Andrew Wiggins. Just like, and worse than they had D'Angelo Russell before him. It just wasn't hitting for Wiggins the way that you thought it was going to hit for Wiggins early in his career in the NBA. But this series versus Boston, you could argue, I will argue as a matter of fact, outside of Curry, he's been the most impressive Warrior throughout this thing.
Consistently?
He had 26 last night, 17 on Friday, 18 on Wednesday, 11 was the low for him. And he had 20 in game 1. He averaged this season 17.2 points. I don't think most people realize that.
No.
That's a solid number.
That is a solid pro is what he is when he does stuff like that, man. And I'll say this, not just D'Angelo Russell too, but Sean Livingston. Also was a guy that rehabbed himself and made his career bounce back when it comes down to Golden State. Guys come out of college, man, or just become pros, and I'll give it sometimes you need a little bit of time. And you're not warranted, especially that in the NBA, especially not being number 1 overall, especially not being the number 1 player coming out in your recruiting class going into college. He had a lot of number 1s on his list, and he just got to a point to where maybe the field evened up. Maybe the pressure of not being around the guys. Where was he drafted? Minnesota originally? Maybe it was environment, Minnesota, the pressure of doing that, which there's zero excuse in that, Jay. But the fact that he was able to rehab and having the right system, can we say that
Actually,
too?
he was a Cav first.
He was a Cav.
I thought that's right.
My son did tell me that last night.
He was a Cav, and it was
a Cav. It was. I think it ended up traded to. Either
That's
way,
2014.
That's
8 years.
Yeah, 8 years removed from that moment. Jay, you don't find that to actually happen unless you got the right system, the right people around you, and the right coach. We've seen Kerr now do this 3 times. D'Angelo, Sean Livingston, and now him.
Well, you could really technically say he did it 4 times.
With who?
Because another guy, and look, the guy was good, but he was supposed to be all-world coming out of in high school. He was that guy, right?
Okay.
It was Harrison Barnes.
Yep.
Harrison Barnes went to North Carolina, and it was like he was kind of soft-spoken, and it just he didn't have the commanding presence you would expect. He came in, he fit in real well in Golden State as like the 3-4 option. Then they moved on from him and brought in some of those other guys, but it was another dude that franchise has built. But Wiggins is averaging 9.3 rebounds in the NBA Finals. Like you won't, because this is Steph's series.
Yeah, it is.
But Steph was off last night, but it's Steph's series to be the MVP, assuming they can finish the job, now up 3-2. But Wiggins arguably has been the most consistent player in the entire series, where Clay has had his struggles, and he's even admitted as such. Draymond has fouled out 3 times in the series. That's the first time.
8-8.
That's the first time someone has fouled out 3 times in the NBA Finals since Dale Davis did it in 2000 with the Pacers.
I loved Dale Davis.
And
Anthony Davis.
And Antonio Davis.
Yeah, Antonio Davis, yeah.
Nobody loves Anthony Davis because he doesn't love basketball now.
Bad. No.
He hasn't shot a basketball, he said yesterday, by the way, since April 1st.
Yeah.
First off, think about that. That's when the regular season ended. It's June the 14th, and we're still playing basketball.
Well, maybe he's afraid that if he goes out there, something might happen, Jay. Him and Ben Simmons is pretty much together at this point. Well, Ben Simmons had back surgery, too.
You need to be on the floor. Or
at all
just
times. Working his craft, Jay.
But, yeah, so Wiggins had 13 rebounds. It was 26 and 13 last night. He's the best player on the floor.
Yeah.
17 and 16 on Friday. He was the only other guy that really showed up with Steph. The only other dude that you can look at and say, all right, that guy was there for him.
Yeah.
18 and 7, 11 and 6, 20 and 5. And then going back to the closeout game against Dallas, he had 18 and 10.
Yeah.
13 and 5. It was an off night. 27 points. Then it was 27 and 11, 16 and 5, 19 and 5, 18 and 11. I'm just going through impressive stat lines just in the postseason. 17 and 10 against Memphis, 17 and 8 against Memphis, 20 and 6, like 16 and 9. Like, these are numbers that get you paid. These are numbers that keep you around. These are numbers that basically tell the rest of the NBA, yeah, they weren't wrong about me.
Right.
It just, for whatever, I don't know if he got high on his own supply for a little while or it was just a big-time growth moment. But Andrew Wiggins has arrived because you look at these numbers, what he's done in this postseason, I did not come into the postseason thinking that by the end of the NBA Finals, we might well be talking about Andrew Wiggins. After we talk about Steph.
Almost in a sense, if Steph just doesn't close out the way you need him to as far as his MVP trophy goes to, let's not act like Iggy didn't jump into the MVP conversation also in the finals. I think it's Curry's to lose, as you said, if they go ahead and win this thing. But Wiggins is playing damn good ball, and it's not just like they're just creating for him. Hey, come off the screen. Hey, there you go, dish into the dive into the rim. No, he's actually creating. He's facilitating. He's going to the rim and dunking down the lane. This ain't just a guy that's lucky to be here. He is making it happen for himself, man. And you got to be excited for him, especially a night in which you, like you said, didn't get much from Draymond still. He played a hell of an agitator role last night. Watching it last night, my wife, man, she was just upset with the umps. I mean, I call them the umps. Got to stay off this baseball fields, man, with the referees last night because Draymond gets a little bit of extra, man. He always does, but it worked. He got to Tatum a little bit last night. Marcus Smart couldn't control himself either. But you also had Steph Curry. 3-point streak broken last night. Went 0 for 9. First time in, I think, 233 or 223 games.
I mean, he had the record. And last night he just couldn't hit on a night where Steph just didn't have it. Andrew Wiggins is like, you come on, I got you tonight. That is super impressive to me.
Yes, indeed.
And the dunk towards the end of the game to put the exclamation point on it. And that's why I said outhouse to penthouse. and it gets me wanting to try and think about all time guys that just felt like it wasn't going to happen for them, and then later in their careers they exploded.
Yeah,
and he's definitely on that. He's definitely near the top of that list.
Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, Tannehill's a good example of
It's
it. It's
hard to kind of say that, man, because there's recency bias a little bit with Tannehill. Like, he has done it.
Yeah, but think about that, though. The success he had comparatively to what he had earlier in his career.
Yeah.
It's a fair argument.
No, I'm agreeing with you, but it's the amount of just hate that goes towards him currently,
and I'm not even trying to slam him.
I know what you mean.
I'm just saying he's been the exception at quarterback.
Yeah,
he has.
Rich Gannon was another perfect example.
Gannon went to a Super Bowl with the Raiders.
Kurt Warner, who didn't even have an
Kurt Warner is maybe the ultimate example.
Is that Nick Foles too? No?
Yeah.
I think it's fair.
It is, but I think Warner is a better argument just because Warner was out of the league playing in front of 50 people in Iowa, basically.
Yeah.
And not only that,
and
he then goes to the Giants, is a backup, then goes to the Cardinals, and gets to another Super Bowl. He came back twice.
Wow, that's pretty impressive right there. But just in general, overall team game last night from Golden State. The crowd was into it. They, of course, coming out of third quarter, they gave up a good bit, man. I think they walked down that 16-point lead that they had coming out of the second half, and they just did what they did. They played really great defense. Like, think about Golden State yesterday or last night. You didn't get a ton of production from Klay, but his defense early in the first half and throughout the game, just being real with you, he was damn good, Jay. He swarmed all over Tatum last night, man, in a fashion that it was.
You talking about Wiggins again?
No, I'm talking about Klay.
The fourth shut him down.
No, Klay early on, attacking big time, man, and it was threw off their shots. He was all over them, man, and it was really in a situation to where you said, he realized his scoring ain't where it needs to be, so he's picking up defensively. And it looked damn good while he was doing it too, Jay. So I'm all for them picking up their team when Steph's not having the night that you want him to, at least from the three-point strike. You know what I'm saying? Like, from the three, he just couldn't find it. And that is a rare thing when it comes to Steph Curry. It's like 0 for 9. That is a tough place to be at, man, when you're the Golden State Warriors. But they still win by 10 at home. Got to go back to Boston. So we'll see. The one thing I'm more interested in, because they didn't get a whole lot of favorable calls last night, is what Boston gets at home. I hate to play the conspiracy theorists of, it's going to 7. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the way they called it and didn't call it last night against Golden State, I'm going to be a little fishy watching this next game, Jay. I just really am.
I picked Warriors in 6. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick behind it, but it feels like we're ready-made for a Game 7 on Sunday night.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
It does.
Just the way it goes. But I'm sticking by Warriors in 6 because I will say this. If you can win Game 5 without Steph, Steph ain't going to have another off night.
No, not like this.
Steph, in fact, I heard Draymond actually say he's going to be really ticked off. He's going to be irate, and you might want to watch out. Meaning for Steph, if Steph shows up and shows out and is angry about that streak coming to an end and everything else, it could be Tots and Paris situation in Boston right in front of their home fans.
Well, I'll say this. Kobe Jr. had some down moments last night,
He was 1 of 5 in the fourth quarter. Wiggins locked him down.
Come on.
Tatum is not top 5 right now.
He's
goes not top 10
too
because
much.
he's on a milk carton more often than he needs to be. To be as dominant a player as he can be, there are far too many stretches where he vanishes.
Mm-hmm. And not just that, man. He can play his butt off. But it's just like, dude, do that more consistently. Find ways to be more aggressive to go at him. Like, you just didn't hear from him or see him last night offensively for him. So, man, Kobe would be disappointed. Like, don't let Dolly down. Don't let Bean down, man. And he did that last night.
He definitely let Bean down.
So what are we gonna do? What do you want from me?
I mean, 6. I anticipate he will play well in Game 6.
He will. Of
I would
course.
frustrate him. I'd put Klay and Wiggins and
Draymond walked all the way to him, all the way with him to the bench too, just asking for the ball back.
Draymond is a.
I don't lie.
Did you hear what Tom Izzo said yesterday?
No, what Izzo say?
I didn't expect him to be this good in the NBA. Meaning Draymond, his own guy. And
Yeah.
I was like, right, no one did because he's really not on a team that doesn't have the stars around him. He's allowed to be extra because they don't need him to be double mint, big red, Cinnaburst, fruit stripe, bubble tape, icebreakers. They don't need him. They don't need him to be anything other than crazy. Because while he's crazy, he usually is collecting rebounds and playing good defense. But he's an irritant. And there's a value in being an irritant. But you can't be an irritant if that's your skill set and you have to be the one.
Yeah.
He's never had to be the one or the two. Sometimes not even the three. During this entire Golden State run, it's been perfect for him. He wasn't that guy at Michigan State.
Right place, Jay.
He wasn't extra then. He couldn't afford to be.
I can speak on that, man. Had I gone to any other team as an undrafted free agent, I really can't see how it would have worked out if I chose somewhere else.
Right? That is exactly correct.
It's right place, man.
It is. Sometimes it's the perfect situation to help him just unlock the Draymond in him, and the Draymond is strong in that guy. Mike Ginnitti of Spotrac will join us hour number 3. We're going to talk some contracts. We're going to talk about Aaron Donald, what that could mean for Jeff Simmons. A lot of that. You don't want to miss it. Jack Jones is a VFL.
Yeah.
He's going to be part of Josh Dobbs' football camp. He's going to join us at the tail end of the third hour to chat with us, and we'll try to avoid talking about the baseballs.
Yeah.
And then Ron's going to join us in the fourth hour. That's still funny.
It really is.
615-737-1045. Wherever you might want to take it, you can. But can you come up with an athlete that's gone outhouse to penthouse like this, where it's been like you're not allowed in the building to the bottom floor is reserved for you, like we're seeing with Andrew Wiggins right now in these NBA playoffs? It's J. Martin Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Hey, we all know it takes a team to keep a facility running smoothly. Your customers rely on you to have HVAC and plumbing and electrical systems in top shape. Lee Company offers complete facility solutions. That's assisting staff, handling management, handling maintenance for everything that you need. My friends at Lee Company are going to partner with you, and they're going to become your friends real quick to analyze operations, to help you provide actionable data. They're going to handle repairs. They're ready to help where and when you need them. If you're running a facility, you know a lot goes into it. If you're new to it, you are probably overwhelmed with all that goes into it. As it gets bigger, there's more things that you have to worry about. Lee Company takes the worry away. Ready to help where and when you need them for your facility 24/7. I want you to visit them online, facility managers. Do it today. LeeCompany.com. Click My Facility to learn more. J. Martin Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Gary Payton Jr., nice game last night. Clay played pretty well last night. Steph was off.
He was elevated last night, man.
And Andrew Wiggins, his supporting cast, because he did virtually everything on Friday. Wiggins was there for him. That was really about it. And then last night, he needed some help and got it. Wiggins, who was the first overall pick in 2014 out of Kansas.
Yeah.
And we're talking about outhouse to penthouse situations where guys, and it could be guys that had high expectations or guys that were late bloomers. But dudes that, you can't find their reservation to, we'll clear out the restaurant for you and your family, sir.
Yeah.
Or you and your party.
Yeah.
Wiggins was the number 1 pick. Jabari Parker out of Duke was number 2. It's just never really clicked for Jabari. 3rd pick was Joel Embiid.
Wow.
Aaron Gordon was the 4th pick, still best known for being robbed of a dunk contest win.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last great dunk contest, was him and Zach LaVine. And it's hard to say Zach lost, but Zach lost.
Yeah.
Aaron Gordon should have won it.
He should have.
Dante Exum was the 5th pick, the Australian point guard that was supposed to be something, and it never really happened.
Is he still in the league?
I'm not sure if he is. Number 6 was Marcus Smart, who's in the NBA Finals right now and has certainly had a nice career. Julius Randle was number 7 out of Kentucky. It's been up and down.
I'd almost throw him in that conversation.
For
Yes.
well, boy, this year's not a good example
Bust
though.
the boom. Well,
This year, it was a big time drop off when Knicks fans were expecting. But yes, to some degree, I would agree with that. Then you got Knicks, Dallas Kiss, Noah Vanier, Elfrid Payton out of Louisiana Lafayette.
Yeah.
Doug McDermott out of Creighton. Dario Saric. Zach LaVine was the 13th pick in that draft. Maybe getting paid big money in the offseason. I'm just looking to see other names that jump out to me.
You going from that draft to just in general?
Adrian Payne, unfortunately, who passed away.
Wow. Yeah.
Tyler Ennis.
Mm-hmm.
Nurkic just had a decent career. He was 16th pick. Clint Capella. 25th pick.
Yeah.
I'm going down deep. Joe Harris. That's been a good pick. Shooting guard out of Virginia.
Yeah.
Joe Harris had a nice career. He was the 33rd pick. Spencer Dinwiddie, 38th pick. Playing in Dallas and a solid contributor on that team. Nikola Jokic, 41st pick.
2-time MVP?
Yep. That's worked out.
That's worked out real good.
That has worked out all right.
2-time MVP. I got a guy, I know you say you got a guy too now, as far as from bust to boom.
Yep.
Ricky Rubio.
Well, I don't know if he ever got to boom, though.
Well, he's been more solid as a pro, almost probably a step lower than what Wiggins is in the sense of just his career. He's lasted a while. He's been able to put together a career, man, to where he's a name, and he's been somewhat decent on the floor. As far as how high he was drafted, I'm looking at him and saying he's had a solid career, Jay.
Problem for Ricky Rubio, he was drafted over Steph. He and Johnny Flynn were both drafted by Minnesota before Steph went.
Yeah.
They had 2 picks before that. They took 2 guards. One of them was not Steph Curry. Steph went right after Johnny Flynn.
Ooh.
And, well, we know how that goes.
Yeah. But I'd almost kind of put Rubio in there a little bit. You know, he's still around. He's still trucking along, Jay. I got to give him that. I have to give him that, man. Who's on the NFL side that's kind of done? We mentioned Tannehill already.
I mean, they're the quarterbacks. We talked about guys like Kurt Warner, and some of those guys who had to fight to get like.
So you go back to the NBA, you can go from outhouse to penthouse to a normal house.
Who?
Jeremy Lin.
Linsanity. Went from
Yes.
nowhere to everywhere to
Normal. Just driving the Honda.
To just career.
Yep. Absolutely.
One example that's got a local tie is R.A. Dickey.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
R.A. Dickey was a first-round draft pick, and then it just looked like, nope. Spent, 10 years with the Rangers, just hanging on as a bottom member of that roster. 2005, he's like, I'm going to develop the knuckleball. I'm going to make that my pitch. And then he's a starter at age 35 with the Mets.
And
won the Cy Young 2 years
Yep.
later. Voted an all-star. Almost gave up on baseball. And became a great. So I think that's definitely an example of it. Who do you have out there? 615-737-1045. Carl in the Borough. Carl, what's up?
Hey there, morning, Sheriff. Morning, Jay. How you guys doing?
Good morning.
So, Outhouse to penthouse. Raider, great quarterback. Scott Dreisbach from Michigan. No, I'm kidding. Tom Brady. I didn't think Tom Brady was going to be what Tom Brady was. I had no idea he'd be better than any quarterback ever. And Jay took my other one for basketball was Steph Curry, man. No, I didn't think him coming out of Davidson was going to be what he was.
Yeah, nobody thought that him coming out of Davidson was going to do that, man.
No, I also think that one thing that's really noteworthy about Wiggins, and I think this is why Dickey is a good example, is there was a lot of hype there.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with Curry was they were still doubting Curry going into the NBA.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech famously passed on him. Seth Greenberg famously passed on where his dad went to play and said, his height.
His height, yeah.
And then he went to Davidson and showed out. And then in that NCAA tournament, he became a household name.
Mm-hmm.
And then from that point on, it's been what it's been. But he was going to be Jimmer Fredette again.
Yeah.
He was just going to be another guy that was a great college player, wasn't going to work. A lot of people thought Reddick wasn't going to have a good career. But Reddick ended up having a really solid NBA
long career too.
Very good career. So Wiggins was the number 1 overall pick, and it looked like it was a near bust.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're looking at him 8 years later doing this.
Yeah.
Dickey did it 10 years later and won the Cy Young 12 years after the fact. So I think that's one where you look at it and it's just like, and Warner's the ultimate example because Warner won a championship.
Yep. Sometimes you need some time to kind of cultivate your career, Jay. Like, that's the thing about, like, I kind of alluded to this before we went into the break. Like, it's all about location. It's all about, honestly, expectations, too. Like, if you go into it and you're supposed to be a franchise savior and you're supposed to be the guy the day you step on the court, the day you step on the field or the ice, whatever the case may be, that can be a little bit more pressure than you expect. And then there's also the balance and the free time and everything else around it. The teams that I consider after going undrafted, because you honestly get a pick at that point, was Cleveland, the Jets, and the Giants were another team too. Like, those were the teams that was like very, very strong. And I was close to actually picking Cleveland because the way they recruited me. As far as, like, it became recruitment at that point. Their scout constantly talked to me and communicated with me. He was always on the phone. He lied about, hey, we're going to call you in this round, though, but that didn't happen. But I ended up picking Pittsburgh simply because I knew it was going to be stable, simply because my agent at the time, Tim McGee, VFL, kind of told me, look, Pittsburgh is the land of opportunity. Mm-hmm. If you go out there and prove that you can play, you're going to make the roster. Mm-hmm. And he was like, it's on you. And I was like, okay, I like those odds then. In that time that I've been playing, how many head coaches have Cleveland had since 2009? Like 8.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot. You know what I'm saying?
All of them.
Yeah, I was
They've
about to
had
say,
all the coaches.
every coach.
Change of ownership. You know, like, that matters. Offensive philosophy, that matters. Stability of the team and roster, that matters. The turnover that they had. Heck, they won't even now, to this day, they won't decide on keeping their franchise quarterback that has won the most for them in Baker Mayfield. So if I'd have gone to them, we would have lost. And that's the other part of it, too. Winning kind of allows you time. It allows you to develop guys. It allows you to say, hey, we are, and most of the times you have a starting foundation in front of you. You have a really good foundation of a team. That's what Golden State had with Wiggins, right? Mm-hmm. That's the same thing they had with Sean Stevens. Not Sean Stevens, Livingston, him. When you have a great foundation, you're allowed time to grow guys, mm-hmm. let them mature. The amount of coaches and players and quarterbacks that were in and out of Cleveland, I'd have been on that carousel also. And all it takes is one time you get cut and then you're the cut guy. We see guys all the time. What did we talk about last year with the Titans? The churning of the roster. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't stick on the team or prove that you're worthy, then you can be out of the league, and it's not really your fault. It's just a bad destination, bad management, bad coaches sometimes. Like, nobody really speaks about bad coaches. You'll either mention the team or you'll mention the player. the coach is getting out on that because you expect the coach the coach to be the one leading you. And most of the times they just don't. Some coaches don't have time to coach you up or teach you how to watch film or practice and stuff like that. So a matter of decision making. And I think Wiggins going to Minnesota early on probably wasn't the best stable position for him. Cleveland, my bad. Cleveland.
I mean, it was great, but obviously he's going to be overshadowed in Cleveland until LeBron left.
Come on. And then the pressure of following that up. Like, it's a good thing he's with this organization to allow him to grow into this.
And Golden State does this.
Okay, we're looking at a guy last year, Deontay Foreman. He had the ability to come to a team that was set up for him. And what did he end up doing this offseason? Getting an offseason contract with another team because he was allowed to come to a team like the Titans that had a good foundation to display his talents. Like, I'm not sure what his pay has been, but that may have been one of his biggest offseason signings that he's had as a pro. I think it's over $2 million for a running back that's not a full-time starter behind Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see where his career goes, but certainly he put himself into – I mean, he took advantage of a situation that came available and went to a team that knew what to do with him and gave him the opportunity. Another outhouse to penthouse guy, and then we'll get to David's call. Well, let's take David's call first in case he's going to say this guy. I don't know if he will. David, what's going on?
Hey, good morning. Good morning, guys. Hope you guys are doing well this week. Outhouse to penthouse. So, to me, this is going to be the best pick of the morning. So, you got to look at, longevity in the league, look at what the player's done, all that good stuff to get to the penthouse, right? So, Julian Edelman.
Yeah.
Seventh round draft pick, 2009. Guy waited, a few years before he even became a starter for the Patriots, and they ended up being a 3-time Super Bowl champion. To me, that's one of the best picks. That guy almost dead last in the draft to being a 3-time Super Bowl champion. Tom Brady, we talk Tom Brady all day long, what he was coming in the league. But this guy came in, grinded, and also look at his size. That guy was never supposed to make it as a receiver in the league. Never. Like, he's one of the, we could say one of the greatest, but I don't like get into that conversation because everybody's got their preference. But that's definitely got to be one of the ones up high on the list.
Yeah, I think that's very true. And outhouse to penthouse again, Wiggins is a little unique in that where he was perceived that he could be from the start, and then it didn't live up to it, and now he's growing.
Yeah.
Another example, just looking at it, is Randy Johnson. Randy Johnson was not supposed to succeed because he was too tall, and there was a long-time feeling that if you were 6'4" or above, you were not going to be a dominant major league pitcher.
Wow.
And we know Randy Johnson was way bigger than 6'4". So he went into the league in '88 at 24. And he was 3-0. Then he was 7-13, 0-4, 7-9. Then in 1990, in his second season in Seattle, he was 14-11. Then he was 13-10. Then he was 12-14. So we're at 92 now. He's 28 years of age. He's got a below 500 record. He's never been higher than 3 above 500 for a season, and that happened twice out of 7 tries. Then, 1993, 19-8, 13-6, 18-2, 5-0, 20-4, 19-11, 10-1, 17-9, 19-7, 21-6, 24-5, which led the league and won the Cy Young. And then he had, at 41 years old, he was 17-8.
Wow. Then
he was 17-11 at 42 years old. Then at 43, he was 4-3. Then he was 11-10 and 8-6. Now he's 43, 44, and 45 years old.
Yeah.
He had a 22-year career.
That's crazy.
That started with 7 years where he was at best average, if not worse. In most cases, he was worse. He was he was below 500 4 of those 7 years and never more than 3 games above 500, and then rattled off a Hall of Fame career, basically.
It's just freaking killing it. I love and hate sports because sometimes you get the immediate success, but a lot of time guys need time to cultivate like that. We've mentioned 3 or 4 guys already that just needed time to be better pros. And like we talk about these rookies all the time, what an impact they're going to have. But I'll say this too. There's another guy, and I ended up looking this one up. As far as outhouse to penthouse, man, Warren Moon. Go to a totally different league, succeed there, and then come back here and have a long career. Like, that's very That's Outhouse to Penthouse, man. Like, that's crushing it right there, Jay.
No,
I don't know
agree.
who else.
one.
Cameron Wake is another one. He did the exact same thing. Went to the Canadian League, came down here and balled also.
Not in different leagues, but another Titan that I thought of was Delaney.
Well, yeah.
Couldn't get opportunities in San Francisco.
Yeah. You had a teammate in James Harrison there, Mo.
Well, James cut 8 different times. Cut 2 times by, I think, the Steelers,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, the Steelers cut him a few different times.
Wow. We always talk about the bust. We never really talk about the guys that kind of rise up like that.
Well,
too.
I think that's why today you have you have a good reason to do it because of an excellent night from Andrew Wiggins and a series where if it wasn't Steph, he'd be the MVP if the Warriors win it.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, there's not. I don't think it's even a question.
No.
We expected more from Jordan Poole, and Poole played all right last night, and he's done okay. But this has been the Wiggins show next to Steph. Like, Steph's the main event, but this is one of those double bill acts where you're showing up early because
you're going
the dude underneath you've heard a couple of his songs and you like the debut album.
No doubt about it, man. It was good to watch him flourish like that, though. But again, it comes down to the system and a lot of the time the coach too.
Yeah, and the Warriors tend to make guys better.
Yes, they
you
do.
see that with a lot of guys. That's why a lot of veterans end up going there towards the end of their career. They know they're going to be taken care of, and they're probably going to win a ring. That helps. 615-737-1045, 737-1045. I still haven't given you my one sort of out of the box example. We'll do that when we come back. If you have an outhouse to penthouse suggestion, give us a call. It is Jay Martin and Mo 1045 The Zone.
Jay, it is hot and it's going to be.
It's very comfortable outside.
Comfortable to who? The devil?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Let me tell you this. The old trick is what? To just hold on to your windows real quick and see if it's as hot as it is outside.
I don't want to touch them.
Don't touch them, Jay. Please don't touch them. But if you need new windows in your house to help kind of temper your house, go to windownation.com where you can get 2 free windows with every 2 that you buy and pay nothing for 2 full years, Jay. It's the best thing going right now.
So, look, I traveled to Louisville over the weekend, and I put a $95 tank of gas in my car. I'm spending an insane amount for groceries. Like, stuff's getting knocked off the list now. You know what I'm talking about. If it's not a necessity, you're knocking it off the list. Yeah. Everything costs more. So why would you let your energy savings just go out the window? Why would you not make sure that those things are sealed up? The longer you have old drafty windows, the more money you're wasting on heating and cooling bills. Right now, you're trying to keep your house cool. You can't get it below 77, probably because you got drafty windows. Mm-hmm. HVAC is an expense, I know, but windows is a gift that keeps on giving, Clark. Buy 2, get 2. It's that simple. Get 2 free windows every 2 you buy, no down payment, no payments, pay no interest for 2 full years. You're going to save thousands. Where else right now are you going to save thousands unless you just don't spend anything? This is the perfect way to save up front and save on the back end on your energy costs. You can do it by calling our friends at Window Nation, trusted by over 100,000 homeowners. 866-90-NATION is the telephone number. It's 866-90-NATION or online. Where, Ramon?
At windownation.com.
And now we look at our 10-day forecast. It's looking a little bit like those Dallas Cowboys is peaking in the 90s.
Oh, boy. Chip Martin, Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Here's one I mentioned to you during the break, Mon. Wasn't my initial answer, but Darren Waller.
Yeah.
Darren Waller was drugs and what, he in jail?
Yeah, or he was on the edge of death.
Actually, it was two teammates on that Raiders team. You mentioned one, I mentioned the other. You mentioned Max, I mentioned Darren. Max Crosby and Darren Waller both are real rags to riches.
Yeah.
Well, along similar lines, Josh Hamilton. With the
Yes,
Rangers.
and now he ended up having relapses, and it dogged him here and there. But Josh Hamilton was the fact that he ever had something outside of a relapse was pretty stunning.
Yeah.
By the way, our friends at A to Z Sports actually said on Twitter today, they brought up the name Derrick Henry from Outhouse to Penthouse.
That's
which
actually
makes
good.
sense considering he was on the trading block at one point for the Titans.
Were they reacting to the question?
Yep.
Okay.
Well,
that's good.
Well, hold up. So was this a public thing that Derrick was about to go?
Well, it was being talked about a lot. Yes.
What?
Yeah, he was being shopped. That was the talk.
And nobody even bit, though.
So here's the thing. To me, A to Z's example is exactly the Wiggins example, because you don't get better than Heisman Trophy winner in college. Now, many Heisman Trophy winners are not top draft picks. That was the thing for a long time. It hadn't been in a while. I mean, Baker was number one. Kyler was number one. Bryce Young, who won last year, is going to be a top 2 pick. CJ might win it this year. If he does, he's obviously maybe a number 1 pick. So it has changed because quarterbacks have skill sets that are translating more to the NFL out of college, because the game has now reflected college a lot more than maybe it did when Eric Crouch was winning the Heisman and things like that. But that example of a Heisman Trophy winning monster like Derrick Henry, pretty much doing nothing of note until they came back from London, and then becoming a 2,000-yard back that's become one of the most beloved athletes in this city's history.
Yeah.
That's a great example.
God.
He wasn't a number 1 overall pick. He was a second-round pick.
Well, he was a Heisman winner.
But we knew how he was perceived in college.
No doubt about it. Hearing Derrick's story, man, is almost like you see him now and he's very humble. But the way he's just revamped his career and turned over into this monstrous type of athlete, you'd almost expect him to be cocky through the roof, because, like, he heard everything, I'm sure, thrown at his way. You suck. You're supposed to be this and all. Like, I'm sure there was a lot of that before he became King Henry. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very commendable he's as humble as he actually is to this day, man, because I've seen guys that get crapped on essentially publicly, not necessarily from people inside the building, but then when they become the guy, you can't talk to him anymore.
Sure.
So good on Derrick, man, for keeping his head down and just fighting that off, because as you hear everything, you really do.
And that's the reason I wanted to do this topic. Obviously, it's a timely topic with what Wiggins did. It's massively impressive to overcome that level of failure after having that much expectation heaped on you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of guys just crumble. Like, Markelle Fultz it never came back around. Like, he tried, but it never came back around. It just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. I'll tell you another guy that was supposed to be the guy coming out for this is a bust situation, but Sebastian Telfair. You remember him? Like, he was the next coming of the Messiah is basically what he was. Now he's serving a prison sentence.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
have we mentioned Darius Miles?
Yeah, I was thinking of Darius. I was thinking of Darius because Darius was going to be it. Then went to the Clippers, and it just. I mean, he was in a couple dunk contests, and
he was doing that.
Yeah. So here's one, Shafe, that we can go to, and then I want to get to my examples. Tim Thomas. The goaltender.
Yeah, that's a good
Boston.
example. I had to think about that for a second, but yeah.
All right, so I actually looked this.
Because he was a
up.
journeyman for a while, and then ended
Big
up,
time.
I think, winning the cup with them.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, well, he was a Vezina Trophy winner and won the cup as with the Boston. But 217 selection by the Nordiques in '94. Spent year after year after year in the minors. Just like Randy Johnson didn't make it to the majors until 25. It took him that long to actually get on a major league roster.
Yeah.
In Finland, played in the minor leagues. Got a shot with the Bruins, played 4 games, 2002 and 2003, then went back to Finland, got called up 3 years later.
Yeah.
And so by 2005, 2006, This is a dude that had been in the league for 11 years at this point in time. Then had a .917 save percentage. Got a 3-year deal, became an all-star, won the Vezina in 2009. 2010 and 11, broke the NHL record for save percentage at .938. Went to the Stanley Cup Finals with the Bruins, posted a Game 7 shutout in goal to win the Stanley Cup and playoff MVP. Still the oldest person to win playoff MVP. He's a pretty good example.
It's about as good as it gets.
Yeah. So here's my out-of-the-box suggestions, and it's going to be a triumvirate of guys. Steve Austin, Dwayne Johnson, Roman Reigns.
Another one, Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, Drew's another great one.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Steve Austin
was done.
It wasn't happening in WCW, but you knew how talented the guy was. Then he had to go to ECW, then went to the WWE, and it didn't happen there early. He's the ringmaster. And with Ted DiBiase, the $1 million belt, it's not working out. The Stone Cold character comes late.
Right.
The first 2 years for Dwayne were terrible.
Mm-hmm.
He was getting booed out of joints.
That's crazy.
And they ended up creating the Rock character.
The Rock.
And, well, he's now the most famous movie star in the world.
Between him and Cena, right?
It's,
no. Well, movie star. Yeah, The Rock.
I mean, The Rock's number one in the world, period.
One. Yeah.
And then Roman Reigns, who they continued to try and force feed people, got rejected. And there is absolutely no question that the last 2 years or the last 3 years, Roman Reigns has been the WWE.
Well, no one benefited the most from the pandemic than Roman Reigns.
Correct.
Yeah.
But he has been the only reason to watch consistently for the last handful of years, and certainly on Fridays. I'm sorry you watched last night. That was terrible.
No, it was actually very entertaining, man. Watching the last Monday, I guess, when he hit him with the broom or with the hammer and everything, it was. I thought it was entertaining listening to the storyline when he was getting interviewed and playing the villain and everything.
Yeah, the sledgehammer needs to stop being used as a weapon because
that's
it's murder.
That's an entire podcast talking about the sledgehammer.
It's a murder. J. Mart and Ramon is the name of our program. After the headlines, we'll jump back in again. Outhouse to penthouse thoughts. You can continue to have those. 737-1045. I do think I think the Derrick Henry one is a very solid one. From Heisman to nobody to everybody. And potentially a Hall of Famer. That's a good example. We'll be back. It's J. Martin and Ramon, 1045 The Zone. Hottest financing offer. You've heard me telling you about this now for a couple of weeks, and it's available for about 4 more days. 5 years, 0 interest financing at Genesis Diamonds. Nothing down, practically everything in the showroom. Whatever it is you're looking for, if it's a ring, if it's a pendant, if it's a band bracelet, designer jewelry, engagement ring, whatever it is. How about a $3,000 piece, like an eternity band for $50 a month? Double it, $6,000 ring, $100 a month, whatever it is. You can keep it going. You can put nothing down. You can buy now. You can spread those payments over 5 years with 0 interest. It's only available at Genesis until June the 18th. This is when you can upgrade the earrings. This is when you can get her a bigger diamond for that engagement ring. Interest rates are going up everywhere. We're seeing it. We saw what happened to crypto yesterday. We saw what happened to the stock market yesterday. So this offer is more attractive than ever. Anything that you can do to save some money and still end up with quality items, that's worth its weight in gold, literally in this case. 5 years, 0% interest. You can even finance the sales tax. Fine jewelry's never been more affordable. Go to my jewelry store at Genesis Diamonds on approved credit, Green Hills and Cool Springs, and tell them J Mart sent you.
7:03, good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. Andrew Wiggins led the Golden State Warriors to a 104-94 victory over the Boston Celtics last night in Game 5 of the NBA Finals.
Wiggins down the lane, rises and hammers with the right. A little Air Canada as he spikes it down. A 15-point lead. Who is this guy?
Well, that guy had 26 points on 12 of 23 shooting, 13 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 assists, and 1 block. Golden State now a 3-2 series lead. The Atlanta Braves won their 12th straight game last night, defeating the Washington Nationals 9-5, but it came at a steep cost. Second baseman Ozzie Albies left in the 5th inning after he fractured his left foot. Albies suffered the injury in the batter's box on a swing. And the Titans begin mandatory minicamp today. Coach Mike Vrabel and assorted players will speak to the media following practice. You can hear much of that during the Buck Rising Show today. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once. On your home for the Titans and the Vols, this is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Hour number 2, J. Martin Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Coming off what we saw from Andrew Wiggins last night and just how it's been kind of a outhouse to penthouse situation. I asked a question, posed a question. You guys have been giving some great responses. Just outhouse to penthouse stories that you can think of in sports. And obviously you're getting the Kurt Warners and you're getting the Tom Bradys. And there are a lot of good examples. We've mentioned a few. R.A. Dickey with local ties. A to Z Sports, our partners over there, mentioned Derrick Henry this morning. I thought that was a really good suggestion from those guys. I mentioned Steve Austin, The Rock, and Roman Reigns as a big-time triumvirate for WWE where it didn't happen, and then, boy, did it happen for those guys. Another out-of-the-box thought is Stan Lee. Stan Lee, who had worked in comics for a while, but didn't start with Marvel, I think, until his 40s.
Dang.
His first character he co-created, the group was the Fantastic Four with Jack Kirby, and that branched out into Spider-Man, Thor, and the list goes on and on in terms of characters he either created himself or co-created. The Hulk, Iron Man, the X-Men. And it goes on and on and on and on. They then combined to form the Avengers. He created the Avengers as a group, all of that stuff. And this stuff's happening late. Like he had gone to the Army after doing comics, and came back after all sorts of stuff.
His life experiences pretty much just helped him evolve a little bit. Jay.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a dude that went through it. And then became one of the most iconic and important figures in popular culture over the last 100 years because you think of what he spawned.
Yeah. And the entertainment and time we've spent discussing it, watching it, talking about it, Jay, that's actually phenomenal right there, man, to be that. I ain't gonna say that late in your life because 40 ain't old at all, but imagine in your youth and all you want to do is that one break. Have that one break and you don't get it to after you're 40. That's commendable. And then to have the impact like that too, Jay, that's pretty wild. I brought up a team a second ago too, and there's a few that really are circling back around, but Buffalo.
Yes.
Let's go to the 90s. 4 straight Super Bowls, although that's a heartbreaker in itself. And then they went through a bunch of years of just nothing. You know what I'm saying? They have a solid year or two here. But as far as where they are now, they're on the first tier, Jay, is what I'm saying. From the 90s to the middle of nowhere to now their first tier as far as NFL discussions go. That's the evolution of what sports is these days, too, Or that's what sports is in general. Screw these days in general. All you want to see is that pendulum swing the other way and your team back on top. I'm sure the Giants would love to be in that conversation right now. New York Football Giants.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Tampa Bay, you look at the Rams, you look at the Bills where they find themselves right now.
Yep.
I mean, the Rams were one of those franchises that just couldn't find it. They went from the Warner penthouse, the greatest show on turf, to nowhere, to Jeff Fisher and the 8-8 and all that, and then Sean McVay.
And a L.A. and a Super Bowl. Is that so? Stafford necessarily isn't in that conversation because he's been consistently good, just at a bad place.
It wasn't his fault.
Yeah,
because his numbers still dictated that he was good throughout that. I'd say that would be disrespectful to what he accomplished prior. Eddie and Franklin. Eddie, what's up?
Hey, guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, first I'd like to say, Ramon, I'm a huge fan of yours. I remember watching you play when I lived in Cleveland, and I just am a big fan of your story.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. But my outhouse to penthouse is a guy that went from, like, cleaning bathrooms in colleges, walking around the town because he didn't have anywhere to live, is Dennis Rodman.
Wow.
And this guy went from cleaning basements and everything like that to getting a shot at a small school, and now is one of the biggest icons from NBA history.
Yeah, Rodman's a good answer. Rodman had a major growth spurt where he grew like 7 or 8 inches in 1 year. Same thing happened to Anthony Davis.
Yep.
Anthony Davis was 6'2", and then had an 8 or 9 inch growth spurt, and then all of a sudden everybody in America wanted him. And of course, we see what's happened since.
Wasn't Scotty in that same conversation? It was just a small school for Scotty.
Yeah, I mean, there have been guys like that. I mean, like T.O.
T.O.
There have been guys from small schools. You could even look at A.B.
Well, yeah,
smaller schools, but I'm looking even smaller. But no, I think that's a good Rodman. I see when I just looked up some lists over the last couple of minutes, Rodman's name comes up a lot. So I think that's definitely.
As far as team, this is a really good one that just came in at the account at J. Martin Ramon. Hurricane Katrina,
Drew Brees,
and then New Orleans Saints and Drew Brees.
The Saints
winning.
Generally, yeah. Saints are good.
Hey, that's pretty tough right there, man. That's Ellis. Ellis sent us that one at the zone at J. Martin Ramon on Twitter, man. That was I couldn't imagine going through what they went through that year, that time frame, and then to spin that and win a Super Bowl. And not just that. I mean, they played lights out with that team, man. All across the board. Was that the re-emergence of what Drew Brees turned into? Was that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because before then they were solid.
I mean, Drew Brees famously couldn't get the gig with the Chargers.
Yeah.
Because of his height.
Yeah, because it's like, that's wild. These, what do you want to call them? These standards that they have as far as what's what in the league or just in sports? Like, that's got to be broken down more and more, but it doesn't get the opportunity unless you get that opportunity as a player yourself, or you find the right coach that says everybody is truly getting a shot. Because a lot of coaches will say that and they'll have their mind made up already. As far as, everybody's getting a fair shake. No, not really. Why am I getting 6 reps and this dude is only getting 1 rep of practice? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Somebody mentioned in the chat, did anyone say Kurt Warner? Yeah, he's one of the
Kurt's one of the first ones up.
Biggest examples. Here's one, Dustin Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Dustin Johnson won nothing until 32. Yeah. He was most famous for grounding his club at the PGA Championship and being disqualified in a playoff where he was about to win a major.
Wow.
I remember talking about that on the radio the next day and just being like, I don't know what to say about this.
Mm-hmm.
But then, of course, 64 weeks, number 1, the 5th longest run ever in a PGA. But you had guys like Spieth, McIlroy, and those dudes were good.
Yeah.
Pretty much, prodigy guys. Tiger was a prodigy guy.
Yes, he was.
Dustin Johnson came around way late. Has had drug problems, has had all sorts of issues like that. Like, there've been a lot of dudes that get there quick. Dustin was the opposite. And of course, Dustin's in the news for other things.
There's another one just came through. Wade Swearing just sent this to Kadero Patterson.
Sure.
Says was working with fast food restaurants before friends convinced him to try out at a JUCO. Got his grades right, transferred to UT, and has had a very solid career. So much so that he changed positions, man. Kadero Patterson, definitely. I never would have thought of that one myself.
In all seriousness, you're one of those stories?
Well,
in a different degree.
In a different degree.
Can I put this on hold and drop it?
No, but I mean, seriously.
I know.
I mean, it's not Kurt Warner type of story.
Yeah.
But I don't care, because Willie Parker, who was a Steeler, was the same way, ended up having the longest run in Super Bowl history.
Yes, he did.
So you go from undrafted to, having the career you did. So.
Yep.
I know we don't like the Mutual Appreciation Society around here.
Randy
Sometimes
Couture
it needs to be pointed out.
Randy Couture didn't join UFC until 33.
Yeah.
Until age 33.
I'm going to be real with y'all. I've seen guys like play football, you know what I'm saying? Like be older going to the UFC. I'm sorry. At 33, Jay, I'm not that angry to start
He came
fighting.
out of the military and he was doing Olympic. He was training to be an Olympic wrestler. And just pivoted.
Are y'all that angry?
Another quick one.
I'm not angry at 41.
And then with Eric and Cody, you hang on. We'll get to your phone calls after the break. Steve Nash could barely average double figures his first 2-3 years in the league, would win 2 MVPs. Yeah. Be one of those guys that was on that elite level list, and most of his best years were in his 30s. Mm-hmm. His MVP awards, he was 31 and 32, and then a runner-up when he was 33, played until 41, and had a 19-year career.
Golly.
Another example there. So we'll get to Eric and Cody on the other side. Outhouse to penthouse suggestions. Fun topic today. More of an uplifting topic. After Andrew Wiggins had his game. That's what I do. I bring people up. 615-737-1045. I don't care. I don't care for the aura coming from over here at all. This right here, this is off-putting. It's Jay Martin on 1045 The Zone. Hey, so you might actually wish you could find out for sure if you have a wet basement or crawl space right now, because I realize I got to water the lawn today because it's looking a bit parched as it's all hot. But you know the rain's coming. You know how the weather is around here. If you got a wet basement or crawl space and you know that's a problem for you and you don't really understand it, you need to call United Structural Systems because they know what the deal is. Doing this for over a quarter of a century. Over 23,000 satisfied residential customers and counting, the go-to company when it comes to foundation repair and waterproofing. You don't have to put up with those issues, and you shouldn't. It's going to devalue your home at a time where you don't want it devalued. Maybe you're trying to flip it. Maybe you're trying to move in the coming months or a year or something like that. It's a big-time problem, plus 2/3 of the air you're breathing comes directly from that. So imagine if that's not clean air. There are a lot of different reasons it could be happening. They will tell you at United Structural Systems exactly what's going on. They'll give you the plan to fix it, and then they do the job before you have to pay anything. Every single time, you can trust them to tell you what's going on and not add on extra stuff. They're not going to find extra things wrong. They're not going to find other structural stuff. They're only going to find what's there because they want to earn your business and your recommendation. They've already earned mine. So call for that free estimate. Find out how much it's going to cost to fix from the people I trust. The telephone number is 615-227-2275. That's 227-2275 or online at ussTN.com. United Structural Systems. With rapidly rising rents, a lot of folks are putting their money to work through rental home ownership. Mortgage Investors Group right now has a 30-year fixed-rate loan that's going to help investors maximize their cash flow, eliminate the rising interest rate risk, all in one easy loan. If you're buying or refinancing residential rental property, you want to call the experts at MIG and find out about that rental financing. Plus, on the flip side, rents are continuing to rise at the fastest pace in decades, over 21% in Nashville year over year. Why are you paying a landlord's mortgage right now when you can pay your own? Make this the year you start building equity for yourself, investing in your financial future. Talk to my friend friends, the experts at Mortgage Investors Group, to help you get started on your path to home ownership. The Southeast's leading mortgage lender, Mortgage Investors Group, is right here to help you get not just any loan, but the right home loan. They're going to make sure you close on time, everything's structured right, and your home buying goals come to fruition. See what their customers have to say about the MIG difference on Zillow right now with 2,600 positive reviews. Go to their website right now after you go to Zillow and check that out. MIGonline.com, MIGonline.com, or text 3 letters, MIG to 31399. That's MIG to 31399 to get pre-qualified. Mortgage Investors Group, the right home loan. Equal housing lender, license number 109111. Father's Day is Sunday. It's Dad's Week on 104.5 The Zone, which means we're giving you chances to win stuff. Tickets to events and concerts for you to take Dad to, or just cool stuff, including this. Caller number 5. Eric, Cody, and Scott, sorry you're not eligible, but you would have been 1, 2, and 3 anyway. We're going to get to your calls as soon as I finish here. Caller number 5, your chance to win a one-of-a-kind, that legendary play poster. These things are awesome. Our friend JK, Joey Kent.
Saw him this weekend.
Helped start this. And JK, I have 2 that legendary play posters. One of them was a gift from him at our wedding, at Abby and I's wedding. And this one features T. Martin. 79-yard touchdown pass to Peerless Price. 9:17 left. Put the Vols ahead and helped Tennessee win the BCS National Championship. This poster actually does feel like 98.
Yeah.
That legendary play, this stuff is awesome. These things are really well done. It's a great addition to anybody's den. I hope you win it, but if not, you should check it out anyway. Just look up that legendary play. Pick up a poster for somebody. It's awesome for a guy's room, for anything, really. You can put it in a garage. They're frameable. Mine's signed, but that's because I got a connection to Joey. And I appreciate that. I would have liked to have had Peyton sign it as well, but couldn't get that turned.
Not if he keep going to these games and
I could have given it to him signed on Friday.
Yeah, you could have.
Because he's leaving sheepishly. 615-737-1045. Fifth caller is going to get that national championship, that legendary play poster. Really high-quality items. They did one for the Braves last year. I've still got actually the ones that I have right now. Joey presented to me, but that wasn't going to be the end of it. I got to get that Braves one from last year with the Soler home run.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 615-737-1045. I actually helped design that thing.
Hey, nice.
He asked me what I would do if I were a Braves fan. I'm like, Soler's home run.
Yeah. Oh, that's tight. That's real dope, man.
So that's out there.
Speaking of your Braves, ooh.
12 in a row, baby.
I know.
That's the longest streak for a World Series champion since the Houston Astros in 2018.
I wonder why they had a streak.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, the Braves don't have the streak for that reason. I was thinking about it, though, today, just because I heard that stat.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, how would I feel if I found out last year was fraudulent?
Your Braves were frauds.
Or how would you feel if your team's championship or one of their biggest, greatest moments turned out to be a sham?
You know what,
Turned out to be a fraud.
Most of the times, the league's going to protect you. So as long as you say, look, we went out there and played our butts off, we won, you still going to keep the ring.
Yeah.
You know, how would I feel?
How would you feel if the Astros stuff you just know?
As a fan or as a player?
As a fan.
Screw y'all, we won. That's how I would feel. I'll be honest with you. That's how I would be. Because what are you going to do? You're going to take all our rings, erase us from the books?
I don't care about I don't care about the recruiting stuff. I don't care about that stuff.
Yeah.
I care about cheating. I care about and being nailed for that.
Oh,
if it's your team.
Yeah.
Shafe, can you answer? Do you have an answer to that? You probably didn't even hear what I was saying.
I don't know what you were saying.
All right, so the
tough.
Braves have won 12 in a row.
Yep.
That's the longest streak for a World Series champion since the Astros did it in 2018.
Okay.
And I thought, as I was driving in, I heard that stat, and I was just like, how would I feel if I found out last year was fraudulent in terms of cheating? As a fan, not as a player, but as a fan. I'm not talking about recruiting violations and the Fab Five banners or Louisville winning the championship that year over Michigan. I'm talking legit cheating. How would I feel as a fan? How would you feel?
Yeah.
Because it'd be tough, I think.
It would feel like it didn't happen, that it wasn't real.
Really?
Even though it was, it would kind of feel like it wasn't real. It would taint it. But again, as a fan, you're looking at it differently than if you were an athlete or if you played on the team or what have you.
I think fans most of the time don't care.
Fair.
You know, like
cheating?
But the thing is that the depth of the cheating with the Astros. I mean, again, we go back to what we were discussing with the Vols and what's the difference between gamesmanship and it being unclassy.
That's where I was gonna go. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the same thing. What's the difference between gamesmanship and you stole a sign or whatever and what have you, to the organized system that the Astros had?
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of
That's true.
where on that spectrum can you tolerate that as a fan?
Somebody, D. Lee added us on Twitter and said, "Shoo, could give a doggone about it. Titans, do whatever you need to do. Just bring home the championship. I told you.
And some will feel that way.
I told you.
Yeah.
Do whatever. Because who's actually, what was it, 1908 Black Sox? Who was it?
No,
White Sox?
1918.
1918?
Right?
1998. One of those years. Like, who's actually.
They only made an entire movie about it.
I know they did, and I got the movie.
Multiple movies.
Who's actually had their rings stripped? Who's actually had, like, the banners taken?
I mean, there have been some in college, but nobody cares there because it's always recruiting violations.
But who was it recently? But they had it stripped and ended up actually getting it back. Was it Florida State?
I'm not sure.
It was
Reggie Bush had his Heisman taken.
I thought there was like a block of games that was Louisville.
Yeah, that's the one I mentioned earlier.
Okay. Yeah, nobody. Jay, would you care if your team cheated to win a Super Bowl?
Yeah, me personally, I would never not be able to think about that. If it was egregious, like with what the Astros did, what were the penalties from the Astros stuff? Alex Cora.
The manager was out for a year, and
Hinch was basically Hinch basically was blackballed for a time. Yeah, it still is, right?
I think he's a coach somewhere, not a manager, but a coach.
So there were some, but I mean, it wasn't like major to individual players. Although everybody thought Altuve, every time Altuve comes up, he hears it. Yeah. He hears it from every opposing fan base and things of that nature. So it's out there. I just wonder. I just feel like it would always be in the back of my head. I'd be wearing the championship stuff, and it would just remind me of all of that.
There we go. There's one in particular.
I would care
everything. You saw it in the chat.
Lance,
Lance
I even thought about it. It's like if I was a fan of Lance Armstrong to where he was my team, right?
Individually, yeah,
that'd be tough, right?
Yeah, I think
that's an extreme example. The Astros are an extreme example. Like Patriots fans,
come on now.
If you want to look at that stuff, and obviously it is what it is, taping stuff or Deflategate or all this other kind of stuff, there have always been little inklings. And I just think Patriots fans wear that as a badge of honor because they think people are out to get them. Yeah. I think it's different than the way the Astros thing has been perceived.
About who?
What'd you say?
Nothing.
You didn't say it loud enough for me to actually hear it. I heard balls, and that's enough.
It didn't start with a B.
That's quite... Vol?
Oh, I thought you said ball. I said Vols fans.
Okay.
You said fan bases that wanted to be villains?
Oh, is that?
And you said Patriots? So I did a drive-by and said Vols fans.
Vols fans.
That's fair. Eric in Nashville, outhouse to penthouse conversation. What you got?
Hey, guys. When I was on hold, I actually thought of another one, so I've got two, and they really overcame odds. Ramon, you'll like this first one. He used to play for your team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, went to Vietnam, had part of his foot blown off, and rushed for 1,000 yards with Franco Harris, Rocky Blyer. I can't remember how many years he did it, but I can't remember if it was during the 16 or 14-game season he had over 1,000 yards, but that serves as inspirational, what he did. And another one that fits that category, Jim Abbott, who pitched for both the California Angels and the New York Yankees with one arm. Yeah. I don't remember he went to other teams like that, but those are kind of two what you would call rags to riches stories that overcame a lot to make it in the pros. Guys, y'all take care and have a great day.
Yeah, with one arm.
Yeah. That's tough. And Rocky, that's awesome. He's still an advocate to this day too. Also, really great guy, man. But to go serve in the war and still play, I'm actually shocked the NFL doesn't do a bigger job of highlighting his story too, man. That's phenomenal.
It is a good story
because they actually kept him on the inactive roster for 3 years in order to rehab and give him a chance. It's really, forget my fandom. It's really one of the great stories.
It's tremendous.
Yep.
It is absolutely tremendous. You're right. One guy, he was undrafted and then had a really good career, is one of the sound bites that we have played on this show for a while. It's John Starks.
Well, yeah.
John Starks was bagging groceries.
Mm-hmm.
And then
this dude
ended
just
up playing
did
with the Knicks.
Yeah.
He literally, here, I'm going to read this straight from Wikipedia, which I know is an interesting source. But in the fall of 1985, Starks averaged 11 points per game with Northern Oklahoma, but left the college after being caught smoking weed in his dorm. Worked at a Safeway supermarket, enrolled at Tulsa Junior College in 1986. while playing intramural basketball. He came to the attention of the former coach of Oral Roberts University, who was starting a program for Oklahoma Junior College. Played there for a season, then earned a scholarship at Oklahoma State in business and finished his collegiate career. Then went undrafted in 98, signed with the Warriors in 88. 88 undrafted. Signed with the Warriors in 88 as a free agent. They also drafted Mitch Richmond that year. So we know he wasn't going to play much there. Limited minutes in 36 games, and Richmond won Rookie of the Year. Then played in the Continental Basketball Association for the Cedar Rapids Silver Bullets from 89 and 90. The World Basketball League, played for the Memphis Rockers in 1990 and 91. In 90, he tried out for the Knicks. He tried to dunk on Patrick Ewing in a practice. He was thrown down and Starks twisted his knee. They weren't allowed to release him unless it healed by the end of December. It didn't heal, so they couldn't release him. Ewing saved his career, he says. He says it was a saving grace because they couldn't cut him because he was injured, and the rules said that. He became the starting shooting guard and then played 8 years for the Knicks from 90 to 98, which is really the last great Knicks era.
Yeah, it is.
Where he was one of the features of that team. That's a crazy-ass story, folks.
Yes, it is. Imagine getting injured and save your career.
Think about how many times he could have given up. From jail to junior college to other leagues to not getting on the floor at all to an 8-year NBA career. And did this dude just did this?
Yeah.
Did this dude just did this?
One of the most legendary eras I've ever had in watching the New York Knicks. 100%. They were the show. Along with, of course, there was a few other teams in that era, but they were the show.
That's a story, folks. Alex in Nashville. Alex, what's up?
Hey, man, I got a scenario for you on the fraudulent aspect. Hypothetically, let's say you were a player for the Patriots back in the day when they had their Spygate thing. You're an offensive lineman in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. First half, you're getting your tail whipped by the pass rush. Not you, Moan, but a hypothetical Moan in the Patriots. Getting your tail whipped by the pass rush. They're getting to the quarterback, affecting everything. Then you guys go to halftime, get some intel, because taking signals, yada, yada. Then all of a sudden, because you have that unfair advantage, you're doing better in theory because you know the plays and you're calling more screens when you know the blitzes are coming. And you win the game. As a competitor, knowing that you were getting crushed when all of the cards were on the table, but when you had an unfair advantage, you were superior, better. As a competitor, how would you feel?
That's a good question. I'll say this about that type of intel. Most of the time, the players don't know. You might have one or two players that are really close to the coaches and say, hey, we got this, we know this, or watch for this. If that type of stuff is coming through as a competitor, it's usually just being pushed down to you by the coaches as coaching points. It's not necessarily, hey, we got their numbers, because you got to think loose lips sink ships. The more people that know, the more is actually going to get out. So it would really come from the coaching staff. So you got to ask yourself, what would the coaches think? Like, we all have little tidbits of tendencies and, hey, we talked to this guy and we know this about him. Like, there's some information that's shared from team to team or from player to player on other teams. In hindsight, would I care if I found out, look, our coaches knew more than we actually thought they did at the time, and because of that we won the game? I'd almost still say, well, I had to adjust to it. You gave me the coaching points, but I had to stop it. They didn't adjust after we stopped what they did. As a competitor, most of the times you're left out of the loop when it comes to stuff like that. So that's why when you asked me what would I do, I gave my answer like, well, I wouldn't care. You know, if we were a part of that type of scandal, because most of the time in the moment, you wouldn't know, other than the fact that a coach just giving a coaching point.
But in the case of the Astros, they all knew.
In their case, yeah, they were a part of the scandal.
I think it's more, it just depends on what was going on, and to your point, the knowledge there.
The level of complicity.
Yeah. Like, if the whole team's in on it and they knew what they were doing and stuff, it would just be hard for me as a fan to then feel real happy about that. Like, I still had the experiences. You couldn't take those away. But are you wearing the merch at that point in time?
Yeah.
Without at least feeling like
if Altuve really had that that device on, then he got to feel scummy.
That's a lot.
Yeah, he got to feel very scummy.
Yes, I agree. Now, if you talk about like PEDs and all that, whatever, man.
I get more ticked off by PEDs and steroids than I do anything else. Because I think
the fans are the opposite for the most part.
You think the fans care more about the cheating side than the actual PEDs?
Yes.
Huh.
I think fans look at it as PEDs are just
they just assume most people are on them.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's the general consensus is everybody in the NFL's taking them.
I wish like hell I had taken them. I'd have been out here yoked up. I'd have had a six-pack and everything. I had a six-pack, but it was underneath some stuff.
You know, there were different. There's always the talk about, that's funny, but there were different steroids for different reasons. Yeah. It's coming back from injuries faster.
I ain't trying to hear it.
All of that kind of stuff.
But as a player, I got zero tolerance for it.
Well, you ain't got six-pack. You thick.
With 2 C's. You feel me?
Thick with 2
C's. But they were underneath my what's the name, man?
It's just not.
What do you think the percentage of people?
My core was good.
People out there would just say 2/3 of NFL players are on something.
I love
over the past 15 years. A lot of them, man. Yes.
What? Is that really a conversation about?
Yeah, the assumption is all pro athletes are doing something.
Hell no.
Well, doing something. And when you say doing something, that's a very broad
Well, that's
term.
the same thing that, we would go to GNC or order from the same sites that you could.
But that's the thing. I think the other thing with fans, and this is a general statement, but when you say PEDs, what does that mean? What does cheating mean?
I'm looking at
because it's a broad definition for whomever's making that statement.
From my understanding, I've never taken Adderall. If you're on Adderall and you're not supposed to, I heard the competitive advantage of just focus. You shouldn't.
But that's the thing. With so many of the teams in the 70s, Steelers and Raiders included, taking greenies before games. Okay, so wasn't a banned substance per se, but it was performance enhancing. So when you say performance enhancing and cheating, then you're just getting into a really murky area.
You want to know how caveman I was? I actually thought taking vitamins, like a multivitamin, was an edge. I thought taking a multivitamin was an edge.
And that's the thing. So now you go to the debate of what's a legal edge and an illegal edge.
That's right. Bam, Scott, Cody, Matt. We're going to get to all 4 of the calls before the end of the break. And the only way we do that is to take the break now. It's Jay Martin on 104.5 The Zone.
Mortgage interest rates are starting to drop slightly, but you need to get locked in today. At the Home Loan Expert, their rates are over 1/4 point lower than the national average, which means you can save just a little bit more than going to those other people, okay? Go to the Home Loan Expert, all right? Again, the interest rates are starting to drop a little bit, and the guys at Home Loan Expert are still locking in their clients with great loans that are, again, 1/4 point lower than the national average. So if you've been sitting on the fence to get a refi, if you haven't gotten your pre-approved home loan locked in, let me tell you, now is the time, because refinancing your 30-year mortgage with the Home Loan Expert, you can still save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month with a simple refi. And this is what it can do for you with a refi. If you're struggling with a little bit of bills and debt, the cash out refi is perfect for you. And you know this, your home is your biggest asset. If you got a bigger bill than your home, you probably don't need to do this. And with the home equity so high right now, it's the perfect time to do a cash out refi. By not owing anybody, the credit card companies, the bills, just summer travel, all of those things. You can get money into your pocket. You can have it and do with it what you want to. Again, the housing market is starting to cool off, and the inventory is still kind of low, which means the houses are still selling fast. And you need to get pre-approved for a home loan today. The HomeLoanExpert.com has lower rates, have a loan program for almost everyone, and this is the best part. They have a 10-day closing guarantee. They can answer all of your questions to make sure you're all ready to close the deal. The 10-day closing guarantee, only available at thehomeloanexpert.com.
It's Dad's Week on 104.5 The Zone all week long, giving you chances to win tickets to events, concerts, you name it. Take Dad to a lot of great stuff this summer in honor of Father's Day. Listen during the 7 o'clock, noon, 2 o'clock, and 5 o'clock hours each day this week for your chance to win, courtesy of 104.5 The Zone.
Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. It's J. Martin Ramon here. Dad's Week. That's right, it is.
It is Dad's Week, man. We celebrate. Go ahead, hit a freestyle, Jay.
I don't have the brain power for it today.
Jay, I thought your comeback was going to be ain't nothing free around here, Moan. Thought that was going to be it, but never mind. You got it.
I'm all right, man. I'm just...
You said you bring people joy, man. What we doing here?
I do bring people joy. It doesn't mean I bring myself joy.
Hey, come on, man. It sounds like we need to be laying on the couch this morning, Jay, for therapy.
Excuse me?
Dog.
And a cat. And a bird.
Cousin Bam.
Porch.
What's up, Bam?
What's up, Bam?
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing?
We're well. We're well and hot.
Yeah, we are hot. Well, Ramon, you can't even talk because you ain't accepting my grill challenge yet. So anyway, Jason, how are you doing, sir?
I'm all right. I don't want to grill. We're grilling tomorrow, but I don't want to grill this week. I don't want to be anywhere near a grill this week. It needs to be a little bit cooler for me to want to be out there.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I just called to give you all one of the greatest rags to riches story. There was a guy from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and he was a southpaw boxer. And he started from the bottom and moved all the way up to the top and became one of the most legendary boxers of our generation. His name is Rocky Balboa. If that isn't a rags to riches story, I don't know what is. And tell me you don't agree with that, Jackson.
Bam, look,
I swear.
Rocky Marciano is a good example of an actual human being.
Soon as I see you, Bam, okay? Soon as I see Bam, I'm telling you, I'm tackling him.
That gives me an interest. That gives me that Rocky topic. Remind me at the top of the 8.
Yeah,
because I want to throw something out to people.
Yeah,
about the Rocky topic, just a conversation. But thank you, Bam.
Thank you, Bam.
Thank you for little. Scott in Clarksville. Scott, what's up?
What's up, Scott? Good morning.
How y'all doing, fellas?
Good. How's 24 this morning?
It's horrible.
Jack Bauer, baby.
Yep, always horrible.
I got one for you. I'm surprised nobody said it yet. Brett Favre.
Brett Favre. I give him that. Coming from what? Southern Miss?
Tony Romo also.
Where he was at with Atlanta.
Yeah. Sure in the heck was.
That's right. With the Falcons. That's right.
Yeah, to go on.
That's
to
good
win
one, Scott.
Golly, why didn't we think of that one?
That's a good one. Because we can't think of everything.
I know. We never think of like Brett Favre being that guy. He's always just a great.
Because you don't even remember that he had
Atlanta. You don't.
He was Drew Brees before Drew Brees in terms of having to earn it. Now, he came from a smaller school and Drew Brees came from Purdue, and it was a different story there.
I think I've seen somebody drop this one, but I know he's a polarizing guy depending on where you sit, but Vic, Atlanta.
Vic was the number one. Was he number one? He was number one pick, right? Out of Virginia Tech. Went to the national championship game and lost to Florida State in that game.
Yeah.
Certainly just the comeback story. And that's on the Tiger Woods train then.
Talk about falling
Tiger Woods in 2009 and everything that happened and then coming back, dealing with everything he's had to deal with. But Vic, I think Vic's a good example.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people won't ever forgive him, but to me, look, he did his time and he's done everything you would want an athlete to do since.
Yeah.
In terms of how he has reached out to animal lovers and spoken at all these events. There's nothing more he can do. He can't go back and undo what he did, which is why I've never understood. Like, we'll forgive people for crimes, like legit crimes against other human beings.
Yeah.
But if you mess with Clifford,
Clifford,
you can't come back from that.
Deeper.
He is the big red dog.
Dude, you mess with Clifford, you're catching these paws, man.
Literally.
You're going to borrow somebody's hands, huh, Shafe? It's going to be a jumping session. I agree with that, though, Jay, for sure.
Matt in Spring Hill. Matt, what's up?
What's up, Matt?
All right, man. I from local boy from Tennessee. When I think of a hero from zero or rags to riches, he didn't do it once. He did it twice with Mr. Inky Johnson.
Yes, sir. I watched that unfold.
Mm-hmm.
Inky's stories are very unique in a lot of different ways, man. I think he's better service to this world for sure in his role now. Like he ended up getting a first-round grade before the injury. You know how you can submit your papers? Yeah. He ended up getting a first-round grade and just taken, gone. You know, like legitimately almost died, man. Like that was, and to be who he is now, like my kids did they had a motivational video and they sitting around and they come back and tell me, yeah, we watched Inky today. I was like, you watch Inky, like Unc Inky? He's like, yeah. Like that's some cool stuff, man. That's some cool stuff.
It definitely is. There's the inspiring side stories. Inky's one of those. Michael Orr.
Yeah, shout out to Mike. He's here in Franklin.
That obviously that story is iconic.
Yup.
It won awards.
Yup. Yeah, for real.
For being an iconic story. Josh Jacobs is a good one, too. Joshua England mentions that one on. Mm-hmm. Now, you always heard, nobody wanted him. 3-star. All that. And he goes to Bama and has to wait his time, can't get on the field, then does get on the field now in the NFL, and he was homeless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's tough, man. Think your life is tough until you hear about somebody else's, dog.
To this point, Breeze on YouTube says, block, ban me, expletive. You're going to forgive a man who electrocuted dogs, hanged them, tortured them, kiss my bleep left and right cheek. All I can tell you is he can't go back and fix that. So all he's done since is try to balance the scales as much as possible by saying, look, there's a larger conversation to be had. And at the time that it was happening, now's not the time for it, but there's nothing he can do for you then, Breeze.
If we are who we think we are, maybe that's not you, but forgiveness is one of the biggest things that we sometimes say we will do, but some of us never do.
And I don't think there's anybody more regretful about that than Vic, and it's not about what it cost him. It's about when he really learned what was going on and what he was actually involved in. Because I don't think he had a clue at the time, because there was a cultural difference.
It was.
Especially in that part of the country. And I've learned about that through the years. And at the time I learned about it. And it not that it makes you, it doesn't excuse it. It simply means he just didn't, I don't think he was fully aware. And he became aware, and he's been sad about it. There's no question about that. So he's tried. But Breeze, I get it, man. I understand. It's Jay Martin Ramon. We'll come back. Hour number 3. We will have Jack Jones, Ball for Life, former offensive lineman. He will join us. He's going to be part of the Josh Dobbs football camp. So he's going to join us at the end of the hour. Mike Ginnitti joins us from Spotrac in just over 20 minutes. You won't want to miss that conversation. It's Jay Martin Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
8:02, good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. The Golden State Warriors now lead the NBA Finals in a 3-2 series lead.
104-94, shot clock off. Kuminga into the front court, and the Warriors are going to win the pivotal Game 5. And for the first time since March 28th, the Celtics have lost back-to-back games.
And you heard the final score there, 104-94. Andrew Wiggins was the hero for the Warriors, 26 points, 12 of 23 shooting, 13 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 assists, and a block. The Atlanta Braves, they've won 12 straight. They defeated the Washington Nationals yesterday 9-5. But they did have a big injury coming out of that game. Second baseman Ozzie Albies left in the 5th inning after he fractured his left foot, suffered the injury in the batter's box on a swing. And the Titans begin mandatory minicamp today. Coach Mike Vrabel and assorted players will speak to the media following practice. You can hear that press conference with Coach Vrabel and other assorted audio during the Buck Rising Show today. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, what's up? What's happening? Hour number 3, J. Martin Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Mike Ginnitti of Spotrac will join us for a couple minutes in the next segment. And then Jack Jones, VFL, Oakland graduate. His second annual football camp? Is that what it is? Is it the second year he's been doing this?
Yep.
Second annual.
Yep.
Jack Jones football camp. Josh Dobbs will be the special guest. It's going to be Saturday.
And Trey will be there.
Trey Smith's going to be there.
By the way, our guy's birthday Friday, too. Trey Smith is. So it'll be a good celebration for Trey, man.
He's going to be rags to riches in terms of where he was drafted and where he's going to be.
I started to put him in there, man. He went from 6th rounder to we read a list about what best interior lineman not too long ago, and
if he just cleans up a couple of things, he'd be one of the best in the league.
A pass pro
at his position.
Oh, yep, for sure, man. You wanted me to remind you of something?
Yeah, Rocky, right?
Rocky.
All right. So I've heard this. I heard this discussion. And it wasn't like this specific topic. It was the idea of this. What do you define as real, and what do you define as inspiring? So we're doing this rags to riches stuff because, and I called it outhouse to penthouse. It's because Andrew Wiggins went from number 1 pick. He's going to be the man to maybe not to what he's doing right now. Yeah. The resurgence, the rebirth of Andrew Wiggins really happening in Golden State before our eyes. Because outside of Curry, he's been the best player maybe in the entire NBA Finals. Yeah. And if Curry were to fall off in Game 6 a little bit and Wiggins had another game like this, he's an MVP candidate as well when it comes to that. What I mean by what's real and what's inspiring. What do we define as real, right? Rocky was Bam's suggestion. I mean, not Rocky Marciano, who would have been a good example in his own right, but Rocky Balboa. And Bam framed it up. he framed the pitch, and he got the call on the outside corner. I knew what he was doing. But what's more real and what's more inspiring? Is it something that actually happened, or is it a story? Because Rocky's not real. Rocky Balboa, that story is not fully real.
Though at least inspired by Chuck Wepner.
Right.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, any kind of fictional story, is it real or not? It didn't actually happen, but it's a real story.
Right.
Because the story was created by someone. That story's not fiction. It wasn't. It didn't happen, but it exists. And it's arguable that the stuff that didn't happen inspires us more or as much as stuff that actually did. Like, there are certainly inspirational things that do happen, and there are amazing stories out there that then get told. But a lot of us get inspired by things that didn't happen. So what's more real and what's more inspiring? is it the actual athlete story, or is it the great interpretation? Is it the great novel? Is it the great movie? Is it the great television show? Could be based on real things, could be pieced together from real things, could be complete fiction and not believable, but something in a character speaks to you in a way that can inspire you. A story that lasts longer than maybe something that really happened. And the answer is, I think you can find it in both, but I think it's interesting because we're just like, well, that didn't happen. Yeah. Doesn't matter if it didn't happen. It did because the story was created. Right. It was written by someone. It exists. You know of that story. And I think I don't think we often think about that enough, that you can be inspired by fiction. You can be inspired by creation. We talked about Stan Lee earlier. Yeah. How many people have been inspired by the flawed humans that he turned into his superheroes? Instead of being perfect the way superheroes were first, these were all damaged, or they were all rags to riches kind of people, like a Peter Parker, a kid that turned into Spider-Man and things of that nature.
Yeah. When I think of the sports movies, though, I'm Remember the Titans is always on top. I'd almost say Friday Night Lights is fictional, but it's also one of those movies. I think it was based on some realness.
It was based on a book. It was based on Permian. The television show was not. The television show was different.
You know the one that kind of get me, though, there's some realness in it, although it's very Hollywooded up, is Any Given Sunday. That one's close, man. That one's really close as far as just like the way you see certain things, the speeches and all of this types of stuff that they were giving in the movie. I don't know if those were necessarily just
Which is funny because I thought that movie was ridiculous.
You thought, no, it ain't.
One of the only movies I almost walked out of.
It ain't overly wrong in some of the depiction of it. I will say that.
The inch speech is still famous.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, no question.
That one for sure.
Yeah.
Lawrence Taylor taking that last hit the way he did.
Yeah.
I've seen guys or no guys that were willing to sacrifice to get a bonus.
That was my issue. That I liked a lot of the themes. It's just I hated that it got cranked up to 20.
It did get cranked up. Ooh. Yeah, it did get cranked up. I'm going to be real. The party with the snake thing, like that, I ain't ever seen that person where I've heard of just stories that were similar to just the craziness of way certain guys are. Not necessarily you see a team doing something like that.
Well, the Cowboys in the White House.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was very Hollywooded up. It really was. But the idea that the way guys sacrifice, the way Jamie Foxx, pretty much turned into the guy. Truthfully, we're watching a little bit of that with the hoping it turns into a Malik situation where you don't have the ego and stuff like that, but it's the quiet, just need a chance type of story. That's real. That's very real. It usually don't work out because the franchise guy is the franchise guy, but it don't necessarily go that wild, that rogue.
Doug in Nashville. Doug, what's up?
Hey, man, I'm coming late into the game, but blindside, Michael Orr.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we actually mentioned him as a rags to riches, and that was a Hollywood situation.
Had Mike at UT. God, had him there. He was locked in at Ole Miss, though. There was nothing I could do.
Oh, with the Tui family and their ties? Yeah, he wasn't going anywhere else but Ole Miss.
He didn't even want to go out on his visit. He was just like, man, let's go to a movie.
He was not going to be allowed to go anywhere else.
We went to a movie, and that was it, man. Mike's solid dude. I like Mike.
Yeah. I
have to ask him, like, where did I have you locked in? He's probably like, nah, man, I was going to Ole Miss. He had a great career, though.
Or here was interesting because, boy, he was not popular here.
In Tennessee? Well,
the way the media talked about him and stuff, talked about him being lazy. And I remember like stuff about him being lazy and just a jerk to deal with and like all sorts of stuff.
I didn't understand some of the stories that were coming out. And I'm not
I wasn't there firsthand.
I wasn't there either, so I don't want to discredit any of that. But what I will say to that is it was strange.
Mike's always been quiet, though.
It was strange.
Always been a solid dude. Now, of course, my interaction with people may be different from yours. Maybe he was just fed up with the critiques and criticism that came this way too. So I would say we'll try to get him on, but I didn't know it went like that here. You know what I'm saying?
By the way, you should ask him I'd be
Yeah, I
curious.
will
I'd
ask
actually be curious
Mike's such a solid,
what
quiet
he thought
dude,
about
though.
his time here. It's very weird.
I thought he was actually very quiet. It's
He
kinda
was
crazy.
Schaefer, is it fair to say he was vilified to some degree by the media while he was
I don't,
here?
I don't
At
want
least
to say
some
that
members
because
of
I
them?
just don't recall that enough to be able to say
Well,
that.
let's say this,
I
too.
just don't want to say that.
He was a
I
former
don't know if that's
Raven
accurate.
coming
I never
here.
heard nice stuff about him while he was here.
Mike's one of the coolest dudes ever. Super quiet, man. I don't know.
I don't know. And just because you mentioned almost walking out any given Sunday, now I got another topic.
Ooh.
What movie did you almost and or actually walk out of?
What movie did I actually walk out of?
Or almost walk out of? Like that's a topic. Think about that. Brain jam on that one, folks, because we got a couple guests coming up. We got Mike Ginnitti of Spotrac. Then maybe we can take a few of your calls after that in the next segment, and then we will have Jack Jones, VFL, who is running his second annual camp at Oakland. Josh Dobbs is going to be the special guest, and you mentioned Trey Smith is also going to be there.
Yeah.
And Jack's story is something else about how he had to give up football, the spinal stenosis and everything.
Yeah.
That was his dream, and it was taken away, and a lot of people thought he was going to be something.
He's super cool guy,
And injuries
too,
just
man.
kept him away. We met him at what, Orange and White?
Orange and White game. Every
Last
time
year.
you see him, he got a smile on his face. Can I tell you a movie that I kind of dislike a whole lot? Speaking of ones I walk out on, I really don't like Rudy. Not for Notre Dame, but excuse me.
Speaking of rags to riches,
I really
which I
don't
thought
like
of that
Rudy.
earlier and didn't want to mention. You didn't like it?
Not really.
Inspiring movie, but not a great
I don't even think it's that inspiring.
I think you'd be in the minority there. Just I think a lot of people point to that and Hoosiers as the like examples of inspiration.
Now, Cody and Corey
Remember the
Sullins
Titans,
at UT, oh, yeah, workers started. Like, Rudy made one play. Come on, man.
That's just that probably has nothing to do with the fact that Notre Dame beat Tennessee
No,
this
it
weekend
doesn't.
in the College World Series, does it?
It really doesn't.
Haterade coming out right now.
But I preface by saying it has nothing to do with the Vols.
All right.
I'm just not a fan of it.
So yep, here comes the chat. Now we're getting a bunch of bad movies mentioned on the on the chat. So we'll have some fun with that. So think about it. What did you almost walk out of, or did you walk out of? Either bad movie or something you just couldn't take for some reason or another. It's Jay Martin and we got Mike Ginnitti of Spotrac on the other side. We'll talk about what can Jeff get. Is it going to be close to Aaron Donald? What's happening? How about Derrick Henry's deal and what could come there as we now know that he's going to be at minicamp? Jay Martin and 104.5 The Zone.
As leaders in disaster cleanup and restoration, the pros at ServPro are prepared for anything, like when a relief valve on your water heater fails, pouring gallons of water into your finished basement. ServPro is prepared for it. Or when an electrical shortage in your office causes extensive smoke and water damage, ServPro is prepared for it. Or that musty odor indicates you might have a mold problem in your house. ServPro is prepared for that too. You need a lot more than help sometimes cleaning up, and that's why ServPro is your one-stop shop when disaster strikes. Not only do they have the equipment and expertise to clean up damage from fire, water, or mold, but they also offer a variety of construction services ranging from drywall patching and document drawing all the way to complete structure rebuilds. There's just one call you need to make to bring your home or business back as good as new and as soon as possible. So if you're in need of cleanup from fire, water, or any unpleasant event, ServPro is always ready to help. Call ServPro and the official downtown Nashville operators at 800-ServPro to see how we can help you get back to like it never even happened. The number is 800-SERVPRO. ServPro, cleaning, restoration, construction. Franchises are independently owned and operated.
J. Martin Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Lifted up by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Visit them, allfourseasonsgarages.com. I had a LiftMaster put in my house last fall, winter, and boy, good decision by me. And it'll be a better decision by you because you can just lean on me making a good choice and make a great choice. Do it today, allfourseasonsgarages.com. Just because the topic kind of randomly came up about Schaefer not being an Any Given Sunday fan and almost walking out of that film. I said, what movie have you almost walked out of, or have you walked out of for any reason? A lot of good ones coming in, a lot of bad movies, and a lot of ones that you couldn't take for one reason or another.
I probably need to revisit it.
Yeah.
But
It's
when
just
I saw
a Hollywood. You know what it is.
I guess I just wanted something that was more realistic.
Yeah, it wasn't that. It was closer to the program.
Yeah, it was way over the top.
Yeah, it was. It was
style.
style.
Though the speech, I love the speech because I love Al Pacino.
The inch speech is great. To the Marshman Real Estate Hotline, our friend Mike Ginnitti of Spotrac's on the line. Mike, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Doing well, guys. Appreciate it.
So Aaron Donald got paid. This is something I know you're well aware of in your line of work. Jeff Simmons is going to be soon. We don't know if it's going to happen before this season starts because the Titans don't technically have to do it. But soon they're going to have to figure out how to get him paid. It's not whether or not you pay him, at least in our estimation. It's how. But that market for Aaron Donald, I saw Mike Tannenbaum at the 33rd team on his website say, don't expect this. He's one of one. Other guys can't command this kind of money. But Tannenbaum's also close to a bunch of GMs that would like for that information to be out there. What does Aaron Donald's deal do for a Jeff Simmons, for example?
I agree with Mike. There is a lot of what's happened this offseason is going to be a one-of-one, at least for maybe a year or two. I think Tyreek Hill's contract is the same boat. I'd put the Deshaun Watson situation there until somebody kind of replicates that one. But look, anytime there's a new number, it's at least a barometer. It's at least something that exists for agents to use. So everybody is going to trickle up. I mean, DeForest Buckner's $21 million. That's kind of like the more realistic option here. That's where Jonathan Simmons was headed, at least in terms of a high ceiling a couple of months ago. So now I think he has to eclipse that. So if we're talking 20 to 22 in a front-loaded per-year average, that sounds about right for the kind of player that I think he's going to turn into over the next 18 months.
Yeah.
Which is reason to do this now. You don't want somebody else coming in and jumping that ship, and that's possible with where the defensive contracts appear to be headed. As 30 is kind of the new barometer for many of those edge rushers. So I agree with Mike that 32 million is completely out of the realm here, but to think that he's not going to be the number 2 on this list, I think is short-sighted.
So on the other side, we had Andrew Brandt kind of tweet out a little bit about the Devontae Adams or Tyreek Hill, but it said it was A.J. Brown, speaking of these one-offs, that kind of reset the market as far as negotiating for these receivers and everybody moving forward, considering he still had a year or two left on his rookie deal. Why was that so much a game changer when it comes down to A.J. Brown? And is that saying that he's really that guy?
So Andrew and I have had this discussion offline a little bit as well, and I completely agree with him. What's happened with the wide receiver market has kind of turned into a tiered approach, where if you think about Devontae and Tyreek Hill, those are third contracts for those guys. Yeah. Those are veteran contracts. Where it's really one of their position is getting that kind of courtesy right now outside of the quarterback position. So they're really big deals. They're really anomaly deals. So for him to say that A.J. Brown's contract is the barometer is correct, not because of who A.J. Brown is, but because he's just extended off of a rookie contract. We're getting into some baseball kind of situations here, right, where it's a kind of an arbitration extension versus like the veteran extensions. So I agree that we should think about it that way, and agents won't. Agents will look at 31 a year as the new mark. But I agree that the Debo, the DK Metcalf, the Terry McLaurin, those guys are probably in the 24 to 26 range right now, around what A.J. Brown just got in Philadelphia.
So on the other side of this guaranteed money, these contracts that are being paid out, one, I know the TV money is coming in, but we're seeing a lot of guarantees, and the biggest guarantee goes to Deshaun. We're looking at his situation, and apparently there's another 2 cases that may be coming against him, at least the civil side of it. Is there an out for the Browns? Why did they choose to do this? You know what I'm saying? As far as if they got to suspend him, will they actually just receive that money back? Where is he at with this?
It's really tough to give you a straight answer on that, unfortunately. I've seen what I can see out of that contract. there's a written portion of this contract that Deshaun Watson basically put together to say, this is what I'm protected from. And none of us have been able to see that. My assumption is that it's pretty carte blanche, which means anything that kind of circles this whole era is going to be protected to Deshaun Watson, which means, in my estimated opinion, based on what I've read, I think he's getting most of this money. He may lose base salary based on games missed for suspension, which this year is a little over $1 million. And if it gets to next year, that base salary is upwards of $46 million. So, there's going to be some dollars falling off here, but not to the degree of hundreds of millions. I hope Andrew Berry and the Browns have protected themselves better, and there's some loopholes that they can find here. But at this juncture, I don't think there's just a get-out-of-jail-free pass with this thing right now.
So do you think that in order for him to have signed, considering at the time they threw out the case as far as didn't, want to charge him criminally, that he said to them, give me what I want, because he tweeted out they weren't in the running. And then they weren't. Do you think he told them, give me what I want and I'll be there? Like, is that where he was with negotiating with the Browns?
I would have to say, because if you remember the process, the Browns were out. The Browns were one of the first teams that says, no, we can't do this. We're out. Then the Saints got really aggressive. The Falcons got really aggressive, and it started to swing in that direction. And then the Browns must have just come back with a Hail Mary and said, we'll give you everything you want. Let's get this done. And then it happened in minutes. So that leads me to believe it's another reason to think that the Browns really may not have much protections here, because they went all in to get this guy back in their conversation.
So with that said, Mike Ginnitti of Spotrac is with us right now. How bad is this contract then? Considering if you didn't protect yourself against, look, you knew there was going to be something, but now you've got Busby coming out today and saying there's 2 more lawsuits coming. And we're getting to that spot where I don't know how you put him on the field. And I don't mean this year. I mean for a long time, if not ever again, if more of this stuff continues to trickle out and the NFL's optics flip. Like, how bad is this for Cleveland at that point?
So from a cash perspective, the signing bonus is covered.
Yeah.
Everything I read, the signing bonus is covered. But these lock and key protections only exist in 2022 and 2023. So if this thing really continues to snowball and we're to a point where maybe he can't even play football again or has to miss part of year 3 in this contract, the Browns can start to get some of this money back. So it's not going to be a full $230 million going to Deshaun Watson if this train really just falls off the track like it appears it's headed to, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with you that this is not going away right now, and you probably can't put him on the field anytime soon. So, if you extrapolate this out, then you've got the Baker Mayfield situation. It's just all bad news. And really what people are kind of missing out the boat on is, look, it's $230 million guaranteed, and that's a lot of money. But for these NFL owners, it's money. It's nothing. They gave up a heck of a lot of draft compensation that is going to absolutely destroy this franchise for the next 3 seasons, and they're not getting that back no matter what happens in this litigation process.
The conversation this summer around the running back Derrick Henry here. If you're in his position, you say, yes, I want some money because the offense kind of goes to you, considering AJ's not here. What's a reasonable deal for a guy like himself? Where is he at on the spectrum of saying you need to move money forward? Do you move the last year up to give him like 6, so he's basically getting $18 million this year? Like, where is something reasonable for Derrick Henry?
I don't even think it needs to be a pay raise. I think what you're saying is exactly on point. He's supposed to make a $12 million salary this year. You make that the bonus, which is exactly the bonus he got in this previous contract, and you just kind of restart this process with 2 more years of guarantees, which takes him to age 30. I think it's the right move for what you're saying here. They're going to have to convert this thing back into a running offense mostly, which is what they want to do anyway, with Tannehill and now maybe a Robert Woods situation. So I think you really just kind of flip the switch and double up what he already received in terms of his past 2 years and reduce your capital a lot this year and maybe take a little bit of a hit next year when the league's going to help you out.
So obviously salary cap's been talked about a lot, especially with the Rams still finding a way to do the things that they are doing, and people are just like, well, what's real and what's not here? Well, we've looked into it. We know it's real. We know it can be used as an accounting tool. We also understand that voidable years creates a loophole that don't exist in other sports. That's another thing I think that Brand has said over the past few weeks since we've mentioned him a few times, Mike. But at what point does it become prohibitive? Like, if it drops for the Rams when all of this stuff comes due, how big a problem is it for them? Or do you just create voidable years in other guys and continue this process? Because it seems like we've seen that happen as well. It's like there's always somebody else you can extend in order to make what you want to do now happen.
Yeah, Philly's been doing that for 15 years. I mean, you can continue to just do it and do it and do it and do it. At some point in time, it's just good business to take a purge year and just kind of let some of those things percolate and take on the dead cap and then reset yourself a little bit just from an internal standpoint. But it is possible every single year to continue to do this. When it really bites you is two things. A, when the league salary cap drops for whatever reason, we just saw that a couple of years ago. Or B, when some of these guys that you restructure immediately bust. And that was the Jared Goff conversation. That was Todd Gurley's injury. That was, to some degree, Brandon Cooks, who forced himself out of town. They had that little 18-month spurt there where they had restructured/extended those guys to massive contracts and then had to move on from all three of them immediately. That's when you get hurt. That's when it's damaging to do that kind of push it down the line work so much. So as long as you guys continue to hit and don't completely bust out, this is the process that every NFL team can take every single offseason.
What is the advantage? Mike Ginnitti of Spotrac is our guest here this morning on Jay Martin and Moan. Mike, what is the advantage for an owner that's just cash rich? Like, and we've seen this discussed over the past few weeks. Certainly Kroenke fits that bill, and a Jerry Jones or somebody like that. Like guys that have uber amounts of money that can afford to pay a lot up front compared to other owners that, yeah, you own an NFL team, so you've got money, but there's some people that have stupid money compared to other owners.
Yeah, you said it. It's about the upfront cash. Something I've seen the San Francisco 49ers do quite a lot of over the past 10 years. Not successfully. It's just one of the things they do from a contractual standpoint. But it is certainly an advantage when you're trying to negotiate free agent contracts or internal extensions, when you can tell the player, like a Dak Prescott, hey, let's do a $65 million signing bonus. How does that sound? Because not only is that good for you, it's actually great for us because we get that proration. We don't have to screw around too much with the back end of this contract. We can kind of keep it clean and friendly, and then we can manipulate it as we need to. So, yeah, you're right. When the cash is unlimited, front-loading these things with simple structures is always the easiest way to go here.
Gut feeling on Jeff Simmons is what? What would you perceive a fair deal to be for Jeff Simmons?
4 for 88, more than half guaranteed at signing.
Yeah, I say about 22 a year.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so with that, Jeff is negotiating on behalf of himself, considering I don't think he's hired an agent. So is Lamar. There's been conversation Lamar is at back and forth with the Ravens front office, probably because they're telling him in negotiations, hey, you kind of suck a little bit just to knock him on his pay. you see, like the agent is there for a buffer. What have you kind of seen as far as the trends when guys self-negotiate versus having an agent? Does it matter more? Will it be more money? You know, because there's a lot of emotions involved when you think you deserve $48 million and they come back and tell you, no, we're going to give you 39 because you can't throw across the middle the way we need you to.
It's a great question. With this specifically, the quarterback is so powerful and has so much leverage in this conversation. The problem is these guys are always so prideful, and rightfully so. They have to be to do what they do for a living. And everything I'm hearing from Lamar Jackson right now, and you're right, there isn't that middleman saying other things or saying the marketable things, right? It's just Lamar out there saying things for himself. I'm just going to bet on me, right? Dak Prescott went double franchise tag, got his money. He got a great contract. I'd be totally happy with that. The problem with betting on me is, how is that contract going to look in the end of the day? Or what happens if the injury gets here? Or what happens if you're right? He surfaces even more issues this offseason with maybe a lesser of a wide receiver package than he's ever had. So I agree with you that there's nobody standing there saying, look, we got to do this now, because if it's not now, it may not be ever. Nobody's saying that to Lamar Jackson, and he is simply being a prideful quarterback that wants to bet on himself and get the perfect contract at the right time.
I think we discussed this with you before, but is Lamar looking at being Kirk Cousins 2.0 if he has the opportunity in order to take as many bites at the apple as he possibly can in a short period of time?
It sounds like he wants to be. I disagree with that process, especially with the craziness of the Deshaun Watson situation. Every quarterback in the league who needs a contract right now can go out and say, look what they just did. I'm not going to put you in that position. I'm not going to ask for $200 million fully guaranteed at signing. But let's get somewhere in that conversation, right? Let's make this $150 million guaranteed at signing for the next, 3.5 years, and I'll be perfectly happy, because that's a ceiling now that quarterbacks can leverage. And if I'm his agent, that's exactly what I'm saying. We don't need to go that crazy. Let's make this a little bit more team-friendly. But I would not go the Kirk Cousins route.
Would you say between Lamar and Jeffery Simmons both, they both hold the most leverage when it comes down to – and I'll throw Derrick in there too. Do those guys really hold the leverage against the teams when it comes down to them? Derrick getting new money and the other two guys getting contracts.
Derrick's got a little bit more leverage than Jeffery, in my opinion, because of what we're talking about. I think they need him a little bit more offensively than Simmons is going to show his surface. And also, look, there's a franchise tag waiting for Simmons if they need it. I mean, they have that kind of leverage over the next 18 months to keep him under contract. With Derrick Henry, I think it's more of a cap situation than anything. And if they need to keep Tannehill around next year, that cap is going to get higher and higher in terms of the offensive side of the ball. So they're going to want to restructure at some point in time. So I do think Henry gets done first here for practical purposes, and then there's probably a franchise tag waiting for Simmons.
Wow. Good stuff, Mike. We really appreciate the time as always, brother. Thank you.
You bet, man.
Indeed. That's Mike Ginnitti of Spotrac. It's interesting. I would love to hear what people think of the take that Derrick Henry has more value than Jeff Simmons right now to the Titans. Because I don't know if I agree with that.
You don't think you put Jeff above Derrick right now?
Here's the reason why.
I'm listening.
I saw Deontay Foreman last year.
Yeah.
If Jeff goes down, there ain't another dude behind him that's like him.
I kind of almost want to push back. No, I do want to push back a little bit. Just because if you mention the optics of this team,
I agree with that part.
You feel me?
Totally agree with that part. I'm just talking about from the field perspective over the next 5 years, 3 years.
Let me say this. That was also just last year. We don't know what it'll look like this year. You also without Raj. You also without your right tackle from last year, whether you believe he was good or not. The run blocking, according to PFF, was good. It was a passing game that he was bad at. So I'd say that's year to year with how that's perceived with Derrick. Again, running backs are expendable these days, though.
Got one word for you: identity.
Mm-hmm. But Mon, what have you spent the last 5 months lamenting? That the identity of this team is running the football.
It is. And I've also been saying it's probably time to move forward away from that a little bit, but they can't now. AJ's gone. The sure thing that they had is gone. So what's the next best thing for that offense? At least before the season starts. 22.
I think that's where your tight end may change that a little bit.
You certainly hope so.
A little
That's
bit.
the history repeating itself again.
But that's a receiver, though. The tight end's still a receiver. I get your point.
But he's a weapon. Tight end can be a weapon.
He's going to make this quarterback better.
Boy, I know a lot of people hope so.
A lot of people want to hear that.
Yeah, Shafe.
Promise you that.
He's preaching the gospel right now.
Jack Jones doing his second annual football camp at Oakland. Josh Dobbs, Trey Smith are going to be there. The VFL will join us on the other side. It's Jay Martin and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
We are on the verge of summertime here in Tennessee, and it is hot. If you hadn't looked at your weather app or the news or anything lately, let me tell you, hot, blazing, humidity, and the worst thing that can happen to you is to have your AC unit break down on you, okay? Think about that. Kids gonna be mad, spouse gonna be mad, the dog gonna be mad. Everybody's gonna be mad in your house because you didn't go get your AC unit serviced by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, okay? It's Ramon Faustin. I just told you who I have for you. It's Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They will take care of all of your HVAC needs. Why? Because they have over 20 years of experience serving all of Southern Middle Tennessee. They are a family-owned and operated company that prides itself for outstanding customer service. They also offer cost-effective solutions options, such as a free service call for repair and free estimates on replacement systems. They back their work with 10-year parts and labor warranties and up to 72 months of no interest on new installs. So be ready for the spring, because it doesn't feel like it anymore, or the hot summers that we're in right now, or anything that may come your way by getting the best indoor air quality thanks to Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They have 2 locations to serve you, Columbia and Lyles, and available anytime at springhillac.com. Go talk to the folks that I know at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling.
Little filter here. Hey, man, nice shot bringing us back. One of the most iconic beats of the 90s in rock. Off the album Short Bus.
Album Short Bus?
The album's name was Short Bus. Filter is the name of the band. Hey, man, nice shot. It's J. Martin Ramone here. Thanks to Mike Ginnitti of Spotrac for joining us. I really found that Jeff Simmons versus Derrick. I kind of want to explore that more. May not do it. We will do it at some point because I think it's a really interesting topic to get into. But right now, this gentleman has his second annual youth football camp coming up, Oakland, not California. Oakland High School, Patriot style, this coming Saturday for ages 6 to 14. And it's going to be a night camp. Yeah. Which is good considering what we're dealing with this week. VFL Jack Jones is on the line. Jack, how are you?
Jack!
I'm doing well. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely, man. I'll open up, Jay. Jack, why the camp, man? What's motivating you to do this here in Tennessee? I know, of course, you want to get back, man, but you guys have been consistently good at bringing a group of kids out, man. What moves you to do this?
Just being able to get, guys like Josh and Trey Smith down here in Murfreesboro, getting, as a kid, I would have jumped all over the opportunity to be able to get out there with those guys. And for me, this camp's about, the fundamentals. There's a reason it's a youth camp. I think a lot of times these kids get caught up in the 1v1s and going to the rivals camps, which are all great, and there's a time for that. But we just want to go out there and have fun and show how much the game of football has done for us in our lives and give back to it a little bit. And what a better place to do it at than Oakland High School, state champions. That's my former alma mater. We run the show around here, so I'm just excited to get back to Oakland and work with these kids and just have fun playing football, man.
No doubt about it. Where can they sign up also? Because their sign-ups are still available for you. And what specifically are you guys going to be working on at this camp? What's available for which athletes?
Yeah, man. So we're going to have a lot of different type of players there. If you're a skill player, we've got Josh there, a couple wideouts. I think Tay Davis is going to be down there, a couple former college guys. If you want to get right there, and then we're going to have an O-line, segment of the camp for the O-line guys. I mean, Trey Smith's one of the best. Ramon could speak on this. Yeah. He's one of the best technicians and best people I've ever played with. Funny story, when I'd been there a year when he came in as a year and a half, I was an early enrollee when Trey Smith came in for spring practice, and I was running with the ones at right guard, and after like the first day in pads, I went up to my line coach and I was like, hey man, I'm going to have to learn how to play left guard because this dude's not going to be playing with the twos much longer. He's a baller. But just good getting those guys down here, man. Yeah. And you can sign up at jackjonesfootball.com. And like Ramon said, it'll be at night at Oakland under the lights from 6 to 8:30. We'll try to stay out of the sun a little bit, but it's going to be a great event. I'm really excited.
Vol baseball, Jack, how are you feeling?
That was tough, wasn't it? That was tough, but I love that team was fun, and I saw somebody put out there, everybody in college baseball should be thanking Coach Vitale and the Vols right now because they brought some excitement into that arena, and they were fun to watch. And you see some people trying to talk a little negatively about how passionate they get, and I think you don't have that team if they don't play that way with that edge. And it was just, I got to go to a couple games this year. It was fun to watch. It was fun to be there to see how much the culture's changed since I was there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were paying us to go to the baseball games when I was there, but now it's a freaking you can barely get a ticket. So it's just been really awesome to see that turnaround, that culture change, because I think it's kind of evident throughout all of Tennessee's athletic programs right now that they're doing a really good job and they're turning it around. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see next year. I'm sad, but it was a great run. SEC champions. just excited to, kind of see the future of Tennessee baseball moving forward.
So I met you at the Orange and White last year, and Heupel, we hadn't seen what Heupel was going to do at that point. We got to see the offense that day, and then we saw last season. How excited are you for the future of Tennessee football, considering year one and the recruiting, and it just feels like Tennessee's in a better place?
I couldn't agree more. I think, what Coach Heupel did last year was phenomenal. They did a great job. Obviously, we wanted to end the year with a win, but man, he did a great job with that team, and they got a lot of weapons coming back, and I'm excited. I think they're going to have a big year this year.
Yeah, for sure, man. Jack, man, once again, we're coming up on the hour right here. We got to kind of pull out real quick, man. Tell them where to sign up again, what to expect from the camp this weekend, and how we're going to go about this.
Go to jackjonesfootball.com, sign up, come out. We're going to get the kids better. We're going to get them some drills, not only some stuff that they can do at the camp, but stuff they can take home with them. We're going to have fun, get an opportunity to meet Josh Dobbs, Trey Smith. It's going to be a great day. Oakland High School, powerhouse. And I got to throw one out there for my chief sponsor, Pruitt Jones, with John Jones Real Estate here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, my brother. If you need a house, hit Pruitt Jones up. That's the man right there. That's my bro. So I told him I'd do that. But it's going to be a great day. I appreciate y'all having me on. I love y'all's show. Keeps me up to date. I followed a lot on Twitter out in Las Vegas, so I appreciate y'all keeping me up to date with all the latest sports news in Middle Tennessee area.
Absolutely. And again, thank you for doing stuff for offensive linemen. We don't get enough credit as youth, and that's one big thing is Jason rolls his eyes right now. But O-line don't get enough love when we're young, man. So thank you for doing this.
It's hard when you get that, you get that sticker on the back of your helmet when you're 6, 7 years old, that weight limit. You want to be out there throwing it around and everything, but you get that sticker and you get labeled, and it's not necessarily the cool thing. But I tell you what, there's nothing better. I was texting Ramon earlier. Trey's birthday is this Friday, and there's going to be about six of us 300-pounders walking into a place together, and there's no better feeling than that bond you make in the O-line room, and honestly, the work ethic that you get from them. I mean, you're unsung heroes. Usually, if they're saying your name, it's probably not a good thing. So, I love it. We're gonna get on the boards, Ramon. Get the footwork right, and it's gonna be a good camp.
Ain't nothing wrong with that at all, man. At all.
Good stuff, Jack. I know it's gonna be a success this weekend. Should be a lot of fun.
Yep, jackjonesfootball.com. Come one, come all. We're going to have a good time.
All right, that is Jack Jones, VFL. You know what you get when you go to the camp on Saturday, Mom?
What's that? A limited edition.
Limited edition Jack Jones Football Pro Camp T-shirt.
Absolutely. That's the same
I just
one
went
AJ
to pro
passed
camps.
out.
No, I went to pro camps to actually come up with that. There is a shirt that you get. You do get a shirt. I don't see limited edition. I do see T-shirt and the Fiery Pig food truck.
Let's go.
Since it's O-line, they're all going to be 3XLs, right?
Gotta feed the big boys.
Yeah, they're going to be blankets for normal people. But it's O-line camp, so they should fit everybody.
Yeah, they're going to have. Yeah, absolutely. And if, pass one off to your girlfriend.
Fourth hour of the show is coming up next. I just keep, things that are being said just bring up more and more topics. We'll jump back into the headlines, and Ron Slay will join us in a little over 20 minutes as well. I know we're late, but we kept Jack a couple of extra minutes. Good to see him doing well.
Yeah, it is,
man. A lot of fans really remember him fondly and hated that his story ended sooner than they wanted it to. And certainly sooner, but he's doing good stuff. It's Jay Martin on 104.5 The Zone.
9:02, good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. Andrew Wiggins led the Golden State Warriors to a 104-94 victory over the Boston Celtics last night in Game 5 of the NBA Finals.
Wiggins down the lane, rises and hammers with the right. A little Air Canada as he spikes it down. A 15-point lead. Who is this guy?
Well, that guy had 26 points on 12 of 23 shooting, 13 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 assists, 1 block. Golden State now a 3-2 series lead. Atlanta Braves, they've won 12 straight, defeated the Washington Nationals yesterday 9-5. Came at a steep cost, though. Second baseman Ozzie Albies left in the 5th inning after he fractured his left foot, suffered the injury in the batter's box on a swing. And the Titans begin mandatory minicamp today. Coach Mike Vrabel and assorted players will speak to the media following practice. That'll be during the 11 o'clock hour, and you can hear quite a bit of that audio during the Buck Rising Show today. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? 4th hour hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio is here. Upon you, upon us. All Four Seasons Garage Doors making it possible. Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer make it possible. I'm Jason Martin. I maybe sometimes push it in the opposite direction. Occasionally I make it more probable depending on the day. At Ramon Foster, at Schaefer on Sports, at JMart Radio, at JMart and Ramon. Ron Saleh, next segment. Thanks to Jack Jones and Mike Ginnitti for making that a quick third hour.
It was.
I need to go to the chat and see what's been said about the movies that you either walked out of or almost walked out of, because I saw a lot of them coming in, and there were different reasons for it as well.
Mm-hmm. There's been some folks that have really, I ain't gonna say they really have joined me on the Rudy. But Rudy, I think, is a lot
of people say it's overrated.
But
I've never seen it because I don't have any interest. I don't care.
Buck threw Hoosiers out there.
Hoosiers, they didn't like?
He said he thinks it's overrated.
Oh, okay. I mean, look, a lot of people call it the best sports movie of all time.
I've never seen
go crazy
Hoosiers.
on it.
I saw it.
I've owned it forever.
Yeah, I got the
I've
DVD.
never watched it all the way through either.
I got the DVD.
Watched like 10 minutes of it.
And I'm in that same boat of just like,
A lot of people love it, but it's always on the short list of greatest sports movies ever.
Matt Logsdon puts any Adam Sandler movie.
I mean, Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison, they were what they were. You knew what you were getting when you saw those. I saw some people mention Avatar. I didn't walk out of Avatar. I was disappointed by it.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually like
for sure.
Avatar.
The hype building into it just didn't live up to it. The story was so flimsy.
Yeah.
I saw it again for the first time in a while. Adam Sandler's version of The Longest Yard. And you have to take it for what it is, which is supposed to be more of a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not that great. It's just not very good.
Guy Kyle on Twitter says Elf. He said 10 minutes in, and he snuck in to see radio afterwards. He says still hate Elf to this day.
Never seen it.
You never seen
I've
Elf?
seen I have seen bits and pieces of dozens and dozens and dozens of movies that I've never sat down to actually watch the whole way through.
Oh, wow.
I didn't see Elf until a handful of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, though. I think it's great.
But I'm also one of the people that think Step Brothers is not as good as most people think it is.
Oh, my. Really?
It needed about 10 minutes cut out and needed to be edited more.
A lot of films like that need time cut out.
A fantastic comedy is in there buried in an avalanche of jokes.
So where are you with Napoleon Dynamite?
I've said before, I don't get it with Napoleon Dynamite. Like, I get that there are moments and there are iconic like things that you take from it, but as an overall experience, I was very underwhelmed that was built up huge before I got a chance to see it, and I just didn't care.
I get why people younger than me liked it, but I thought it was a short movie turned into a full-length feature.
Oh, wow.
And there were bits that I enjoyed, and
Me
thought
too.
were funny.
Me too.
But as a movie, I've never seen it a second time.
Didn't
I
do
had
it for you.
no urge to see it.
But it was fine.
I get why other people liked it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't go so far as to say as I disliked it. I just kind of shrugged my shoulders.
I just didn't get it as much as other people got it. But Lebowski's one of those movies that some people
totally agree,
absolutely love, and some people will
Some
never
people
like.
swear by it, have their name. Look,
yeah.
Is Lebowski football and F words? Did he get it from Big Lebowski, or is that his actual
The Big
name?
Lebowski? I actually don't know.
I don't
can't
know
answer
either.
that.
Mr. Lebowski, you can let us know. I have no idea.
But the Big but I will say this. If you just watch The Big Lebowski once and you don't get it, I understand. It's a movie that I didn't fully appreciate until about the third watch.
Problem is, I've watched it 4 or 5 different times, and it's to try and gain appreciation to understand why it's revered like it is. I don't get it.
I get it now.
I still don't love it.
I get it now.
I like, again, some of the things within it I really like, and I love the music. And I love the Coen brothers.
Right.
It just didn't do it for me.
But the first Anchorman, when I watched it, I didn't like it that much.
love the
But
first one. Second
after
one
I
was-
saw
second
it
one
a
was
second or
trash.
third time, loved it.
Second one never should happen.
So sometimes it just depends upon when
Outside
you
of
see the
making money.
movie, how many times you see a movie.
But there
never
are
know.
some that just, to me, never hit. And like movies that you almost walk out of for reasons of being terrible. My mom and I actually walked out of Leonard Part 6 before it was over.
Well, that's because it's one of the worst movies of all time.
It is the worst movie of all time to me. I walked out of Mystery Men.
Mystery Man.
Couldn't stand Mystery
Not
Men.
a very good movie.
Somebody tweeted out us Undercover Brother. I can get that one.
Dreamcatcher
Yeah.
is another one of the worst films I've ever seen.
There was one called Battle or Battlefield
Battlefield
Los
Earth.
Angeles. Not that one. Battle Los Angeles or something that Aaron Eckhart was in.
Yeah.
It's that bad.
No, there wasn't much of a story, and the special effects weren't great. You're
Yeah.
doing an alien invasion movie. You can't skimp on the special effects.
Yeah. There was this, well, it was based on a true story. I just didn't get it, but this Billionaires Boys Club, I thought I was into that. It's based on a true story about how they scam people and stuff like that. Wasn't a fan of that one, man.
Mr. Man, I should say I walked out. I was in free.
Oh.
I worked at a bunch of movie theaters, so I if it wasn't hitting, a lot of times I didn't waste the time. Leonard Part 6, Mom and I walked out of. We paid for it when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Mom's like, "Can we leave? I'll get you McDonald's." Yep, let's go.
For real?
Let's go.
Heck, if somebody said that to me now, I'd be like, yeah.
A lot of
You're gonna give me
critics,
McDonald's?
A lot of critics will tell you you're going to walk out of the new Jurassic Park, but that's not how the people see it, because the people just want it to be loud and dumb and dinosaur-y, and that's what
that's
it is.
Fast
Apparently.
and Furious with cars.
Exactly right.
Yeah. This is Fast
No,
and Furious
Fast and
with
Furious
dinosaurs.
is with cars. This is Fast and Furious with dinosaurs.
Right.
You know a movie that I ended up getting because it's supposed to be really good? The Deer Hunter. Didn't get it.
The classic Deer Hunter?
Yeah, didn't get it. Wasn't a huge fan of it. And I still have it in my library. I'm looking through right now some movies
I
that I'm
can
just
get
like,
that.
I passed over. I'm going to say one, and it's a very iconic scene in it, but the movie itself didn't move me. North Dallas 40.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good movie.
You did?
Yeah.
Didn't move me that way. And I know it's got the iconic scene and everybody does
Yeah.
these praying and
Yeah.
stuff. Didn't do it. Dumb and Dumber 2. And I love those silly
Dumb and Dumberer.
movies.
Is that
Dumb
what
and
it was?
Dumberer.
I didn't even
do it.
bother because I knew what the classic was, and I knew it wasn't going to be that.
Yep.
I haven't seen all of the first one.
You haven't?
The movie
bits
I
and
didn't
pieces
walk
of it.
out
I
of
love
but
the
should
first
have is Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Not
Hot garbage.
I don't think it's as bad as other people think it is, but it's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
All of them are trash to me.
The first one was
Other than the
and Bumblebee was
Bumblebee
good.
was fine.
Bumblebee was fine. Yeah, I should say.
And the
fine,
one
not
with
good.
Wahlberg was actually
Is all right.
okay.
But Revenge of the Fallen
All-
number 2 and
all-
Dark of the Moon.
all the rest of
those
them-
films were eternal. I'm pretty sure it's still going on right now. The battle with the Fallen took like an hour and 15 minutes, and it was terrible.
I don't know how films that are supposed to have that much action can be that boring.
Dude, it was horrendous. man.
You want to talk about being just disappointed. I'm talking about overly disappointed. I love mafia movies. Y'all know this. John Gotti movies, I wanted to see it.
Oh, you didn't see Gotti, did you?
15 minutes.
That's
That's all I
longer
can
than
do.
some people made. You're talking about the Travolta film, right?
one, yes.
That is Revolta.
Like, oh my gosh, it couldn't have got no worse. Like, this is what we're doing. This is how we're depicting him right now.
Michael
That was
Michael
bad.
Burgett, facts. Yes, the Transformers movie, the animated film from '86. Nothing's topping that. Like,
Hated
don't
that
continue to try and fail. Yeah, Gotti was bad. I heard somebody mention Public Enemies. Public Enemies disappointed me.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it, but it disappointed me.
Well, yeah.
For what I was hoping it was going to be, it did not live up to that.
I was a victim of actors and trends, too. Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, when they did Holmes and Watson.
I didn't even bother.
That was a waste of time and money.
I've heard that was terrible.
I'm talking about, terrible is an understatement.
Ooh.
Okay? That's how bad it was. I'd love to hear somebody say that they love that movie.
Anybody wants to say Green Lantern was good, I'll fight them.
For real?
Yeah. That's the most disappointed in the movie.
I like
I've
that
ever
even
been.
Ryan Reynolds makes fun of it through Deadpool.
Does he?
I was so excited because I was reading those comics for years leading up to that film, had fallen in love with that character and that universe, and that movie was just abysmal.
Just terrible.
By the way, Deadpool and Deadpool 2 as well were movies that I enjoyed more than I thought I was going to.
Everybody
I didn't know
did.
what to expect.
By the way, have you seen Free Guy?
No.
That's Free Guy.
Free Guy is excellent. Put it on your list. I think it's on HBO Max right now, but it might also be on a couple of other services. Free Guy is excellent. You should watch it. You absolutely should watch it. And you should listen to this. Ron Slay.
Yeah.
He'll be here. I bet he will have some thoughts on all of this when we come back. It's Jay Martin on 104.5 The Zone. Sam Ramon. I saw Slay was in the green room, so he's popping in. He walks in like he has entrance music.
Because he does.
He had an interesting night last night, too.
I don't know what that is.
Because I know what you do. That's why I know what
It's
you
J.
do.
Martin Ramon here, 104.5 The Sound, all Four Seasons Garage Doors, making it possible.
The Dree is in the house. Why you got the look on your face this morning?
What's that look?
Sleep? Lack of?
That was the look I had.
It is J2 Celsius in right now.
I got yeah, pretty much. I got
Whoa, you 2 Celsius in?
He popped one this morning.
Man.
And 2 coffees.
Man, you're gonna have the coke jaw after that, bro.
I put CG down at midnight.
Hey, name me a better thug than CG.
There ain't one.
It's thuggish.
It ain't one. No,
every day
not
is just
holding it down
another.
like that.
Every day is another bat flip staring me down.
Not on the block like that. You know what I mean? Ain't too many that's on the block.
You
like
have the
CG
Drew
out.
Gilbert of daughters there, man. That's what's going on.
She's basically Al Capone and Brentwood.
I'm just swinging and
Smoke 'em
banging.
if you got 'em.
You know what I mean? People gonna be coming by dropping off bottles. You know what I mean? Keep moving. Who dropped that bottle off? What, the CG workers?
Let me find out she been communicating.
Okay.
She
All right.
don't communicate.
He thinks she down at 12.
And look, police don't even know. CG right under Jason them face.
What's your dog, Marlo?
What? Margot.
Margot.
It might as well be
No,
Marlo.
it's not Marlo. It's not. We're not.
You feel me?
Snoop is not hanging out.
After 12,
Marlo
come out.
Marlo come
Marlo
out.
CG hitting the block.
Hey, string a bell.
I am not going to Home Depot.
Hey, how much this nail
I'm not
gun?
going to Ace Hardware. I'm not going for
Oh,
the nail
yeah.
gun.
Hey,
Kickback.
how much it costs? Just keep that. And CG leaving tips
Off
to the
top.
nanny because they get nothing.
Come on now. Off top. They doing their job. Appreciate you, Nanny. You know what I mean? Keep it for yourself. I'm going to go back in this crib. Keep
It
'em
calls
up.
hell
Keep them up
tonight.
a little while.
Ron, what's a movie you've almost walked out of or wanted to or did?
Man, I've been listening to y'all this morning, man. And Jay, this is my thing, man. I can't walk out of movies.
I get it.
I sit there and
understand that.
torture myself if it's a bad movie just because I feel like it's, man, I spent my money, so I'm not going to give y'all the satisfaction.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch my movie, and then I'm going to sneak in another movie. You know what I mean? Because I got to get my money's worth. That's first
I
and
know why you
foremost.
don't walk out. You
Why?
ain't going to spend that ice cream money and then leave.
You feel what I'm saying? I got to have it. Fountain Square.
All right, so check it out, though. As I said, I walked out of Mystery Room, but I worked at a theater, so it was a free mission. Now, I walked out with my mom because she asked me to and promised me a Happy Meal. Because
That's
Leonard Part 6 was Bill Cosby's first movie, and it was the worst movie I've ever seen, bar none, hands down.
What was the name of it?
Leonard Part 6.
First of all, how did it get to part 6?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, that's
I never understood the part 6 part.
Never heard of this.
But
There
was
were
it
no
a part 1 through 5?
No, there was not.
See,
And it was actually paid for by like environmental lobby. It was supposed to teach a lesson on top. It was
that's a red flag.
brutally
That's a
bad.
red
Taught a
flag.
lesson how to make a
Horrifying.
horrible movie.
All right, so what movie do you wish you could have walked out of? What disappointed you?
Man, if it was one out, and this is a hood favorite, man. Hood classic to some. It's just not to me. I ain't shot. What is shot?
Shot us. I'm with you.
That didn't
Never
do
understood it.
Nah, that didn't do it. for me.
Never
Hood
understood
classic.
Shot Us.
When people start talking about the state property movies and paid
Yeah.
in full and all, they always throw
Boys
Shot Us
in the
there.
Hood
But
is
yeah,
good.
They always
Menace to
throw Shot Us
Society.
in there.
Shot Us. Don't move me.
It
It's a
didn't do it for me.
Jamaican.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's more an East Coast
crime.
thing. I think they probably love
Well,
it.
some
Shot
Florida
Us come
guys
out.
like it
There you go.
with the Haitians and whatnot. I guess.
Yeah.
Shot us 2002.
Yeah.
It was.
I'm talking about dudes quote this word for
Yeah.
word, Jay.
Like this the Bible.
Wyclif's in it.
He may have funded it. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Could have, but
I
it ain't.
couldn't.
I didn't actually know. I don't think I even knew
See,
of it.
nephew
Yeah.
Sally right now. Shot Us is that.
See what I'm
movie.
saying? They'll say it's a classic.
It's interesting.
I just
I'm with you.
and I got a problem. This is a problem of mine. When all the hype is around something, I'm always the guy to be like, hey, I ain't even gonna watch it. Like,
Fall back.
I'm gonna be honest. I've never watched Hoosiers.
Yeah. See,
Never seen it.
I've owned Hoosiers literally
Never seen
for 25 years. I've never seen Hoosiers either. Because every time I'm like, I need to watch Hoosiers, but I'm not. Like, I'm good. That's literally how it is.
Even Buck tweeted
I got to pull out, Moan.
And he said, you stop with that pull out.
Phrasing.
I know.
Y'all.
I know.
No, Moan, that's all your fault.
That's all.
I
That
heard
is
him earlier with it.
I know y'all did.
all your fault.
I know.
It was when Jack was on.
Yeah, when Jack was on.
You got to pull out of the break. Sometimes you just do.
When speaking of pulling out, okay, here we go.
Well, all right.
Speaking of real quick, Shadas, critics hated Shadas.
Really?
Audience score is 91%, so that backs up your point. 17% critical response. That's one of the lowest responses you're going to find. Wow. And like just reading this one, stars from reggae and other musical worlds give acting a try. A witless, misogynistic, gratuitously violent, drug culture worshiping mess. That's just one example.
Slow down. Dang, went in.
Okay. Yeah, that's tough. Okay.
Speaking of pulling out,
that was from the New York Times.
Me and my dog.
Speaking of pulling out, Tyler Dow asked us to pull this back into the conversation.
Okay.
We talked about it earlier on Zone Chat. If you had been caught, your team had been caught cheating.
Oh, yeah, right.
If you had known that there were situations as far as Astros, as far as Patriots stealing signals, Deflategate, all the stuff around them, as a player on that team, would you feel a little stench? You say, hell no, I worked for this still.
As a player on that team?
Yeah.
That's my chip.
See?
I'm talking about nothing. No. I look back at the situation with Louisville.
Oh, okay.
That's they chip, man.
Yeah.
I don't care what happened. If they played throughout the season, if it wasn't a game that was taken away, a disqualification or something, like if they went through the entire, no, man, that's my chip, man. Y'all done beat me. Sorry.
That's where I kind of was. So I said the same thing. Now I'm gonna say two more things real quick. I said most of the times when you're getting that type of intel, the players don't usually get it.
Mm-hmm.
You're usually just getting coaching points.
Yeah.
It's usually the coaching staff that kind of does that to you, man.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I was on that, Savage, is that how it's kind of pushed you. And the other part of it is I have a bigger issue with steroids or people using Adderall as opposed to stealing signs or air quotation marks cheating.
Yeah, when
you talk about the Astros, it's different.
They had devices. I get that one.
Yeah, that was
the whole team was in on what was going on.
That was so. If you do studies and stuff of that nature, like and memorize things, like that was just hey, you found the cheat sheet, you used it, you memorized it, you went out there with it. But to be out there and every time Jay throw a curveball, I'm saying
sit on it.
You know what I'm saying? Like
hitting garbage cans, hitting Butch Jones garbage cans, and all that stuff.
That's a tad bit different. Now, and everybody always says like everybody's doing it. They just got caught. But if that's the case, man, I mean, if we can go back and look at the footage and we don't hear people like that's come on, man, that's just a little too far.
Okay. Still, are you giving the ring back?
Hell no. I played it.
Okay.
I played the season. This is the one. Look, you hit on one. When you start talking about PEDs and stuff, that's an unfair advantage to me. If it's illegal.
And explain your reason of it.
If it's illegal, that means you're getting a competitive edge of something that I don't have privy of being able to do. So we're not on the same playing surface. If you got technology and stuff and, you know what I mean, it's cutting edge and we just ain't caught up with the times, we still on the same playing field.
Because you still got to beat me.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I just, if you're able to put an addition into you to make you play extra, longer, stronger, whatever it may be, and give you that competitive advantage physically, I can't do it.
I'll say this. I played against a guy that was rumored to have, always kind of juiced the dope or had a little extra assistance. After I found out about it, I was like, yep. Like the strength that he played with, as old as he was, the entire game, not just like a spell, not like on third. No, he played the entire game this way.
Right.
I felt used, You know what I'm saying? Like, I legitimately was like, I couldn't have won.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's different if you got tips. You know, Jay, like, it's different if I know Jay gonna do this on that play.
Yeah.
That's because I can really kind of study that a little bit.
There you go.
But when it comes down to you injecting something in, and like I know and you ain't getting tired.
Yeah, that's something.
That's
right.
hell to pay.
Yeah, that's something right. That's cheating, man. That's the physical advantage is not cool with me at all.
And I get that from a player standpoint. Like I said, my only thought there, and Moan seemed kind of surprised by this, is I feel like I'm not in the minority when I say the vast majority of people who watch sports just assume most of the NFL is on it and have been forever. And most pro athletes to some degree are doing something.
I can feel it.
And so they kind of shrug their shoulders when this dude gets dinged for PEDs. Whereas if I'm playing against somebody that's, you know, Wolverine out here, because he's got adamantium that's not allowed, that shouldn't be okay.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel like I don't have a fair shake against you. I just think it's different for the athletes involved in it that are doing it the right way and the fans that think everybody is Lance Armstrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spot on. Another thing y'all hit on, man, I wanted to touch on, like, really, I'm supposed to be coming over talking about basketball, but we never talk about basketball.
Well, dude, you have a radio show for 3 hours. You talk about everything.
I don't really want to. I'm like having fun right now, so let's just continue doing it.
You work later, man.
You know what I mean? But, dude, I don't know if y'all got back into it because I was dropping Ron off.
Baby ball.
Had to roll him in at school. Man, your boy had a little meltdown today, too, man.
He did.
Yeah, man, just because he tired. You know what I mean? This man gonna get up. Yeah, gonna get it. So he went swimming, come in about 9:30 last night. You feel me? No, he's supposed to be in by about 9, getting ready for bed. Let him stay up to 10 because it's summer, but you got summer camp the next day. Man, this man come in 9:30, you know what I mean? I'm peeping him on the camera, you know what I mean? He come on in, I get home, trying to act like he's sleeping. It's about 10:45, 11, you know what I mean? So I said, all right, so I ain't even going to say nothing to him. I'm going to let him go on and oversleep and everything. I ain't going to wake him up in the morning. So when he come down there, it's about 7. He like, man, Dad, I don't want to go to summer camp today. I said, hell yeah, that's what went on in my head. Say, right on. Hell yeah. So, mind you, he telling me this while I'm in the shower. I said, hey, man, listen, hold up. Wait till I get out of the shower and we going to talk. You know what I mean? So I get out, you know what I mean? I said, no, you don't want to go to summer camp? I said, no, why? He said, because it's enrichment and sports all combined. Time to rise program.
I don't care about enrichment.
Yeah. So the man told me, no, check this out, Jay. The man told me it's too many papers. What? It's too many papers. I said, no, you got to explain. That don't even make sense what you're saying. Too many papers, like you need some papers, or you don't understand the work. He said, no, it's math and English and science. It's just a lot. I said, so okay, I'll tell you what. What you want to do today? What you want to do?
Yeah.
He said, I'll stay home. I said, you just gonna stay home and chill and rest?
Yeah.
He said, yeah. I said, all right, cool. Go put all your games in my man cave and close the door behind you. So he went up there and put them all in there. About 10 minutes later, I'm down there getting dressed. He coming in and said, Dad, I think I want to go to summer camp. I said, nah, You already made the decision. Ain't no summer camp.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's consequences to everything. But I'm with you. Like, you don't need to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just go on up there and make sure you rest. And make sure that you know you don't get your games until August 1st, because I need you to be caught up on all your rest. I need you to be all the way good, so when you go in there to do your stuff, you all the way locked in. So you need some good rest, man. Like, let's lock in. He said, can I watch TV? Nah, TV ain't really it, man. You don't need to really do that. He said, yeah, it was a joke, Dad. I said, so now you just... So you woke up, yeah. So you woke up to tell a joke this morning, and I didn't receive it well. Gotcha. Yeah. You know what? Just sit right here, man. We ain't messing around with no camp. So I was late taking them to the camp.
Yeah.
But I say all that to say, y'all was talking about Big Jeff.
Yeah.
And
versus Derrick Henry.
So my thing on that, man, I like that conversation, first of all.
Me too. We're going to do more of that tomorrow, too.
Okay, so you want me to leave?
No.
Yeah,
we can parse this 12 different ways.
So, the leverage, I feel, I was saying yesterday to Babs and Yoro, the leverage that he has right now.
With who?
Derrick Henry.
Derrick, okay.
I don't feel once he steps foot on that field for game 1, that leverage leaves.
Yep. We said that yesterday off air. Because I said now there's still is he the old Derrick Henry? And if he comes back and it all shows anything else, then the value drops.
You still got that mystique right now. If you don't listen, we've been talking about players handling your body as a business.
Yes, sir.
You got the leverage. You showed up to mandatory minicamp. All the fans know you in the building. You doing right.
Yep.
You came back for the AFC game.
Yep.
I mean, the playoff game. Y'all lost. A.J. Brown's gone.
Mm-hmm.
You came back and worked hard to show that you came back from that foot injury. You willing to sacrifice for the team.
Yep, you did.
Now going in, A.J. Brown gone.
Yep.
They don't get you done? Oh.
Yeah.
Man, these streets out here will be aflame.
I feel like
flame.
And we feel like as a show, his agent, his people told him, look, this needs to happen now.
Now.
You need to get money up front. You need to get it guaranteed.
Yep.
Yeah.
You need to get it right now. I'm surprised he's at minicamp.
Can I be honest with you? I am
I'm
too.
surprised he's at minicamp. And it's not about like, it speaks to this is all part of negotiation and all this.
Terry ain't showing up.
I know. McLaurin is going to sit out, and there's some other guys you're probably going to find out are doing the exact same thing. I'm surprised because the question not being answered is the only thing he has right now. And he's at a position where we heard Mike Keith tell us over 400 carries this year.
Yeah.
If they're going to, I guarantee his representation is telling him, look, they're going to run you into the ground to get what's left.
Mm-hmm.
So you better get yours right now.
And honestly, looking at it, why wouldn't you?
Right.
From the Titans' point of view, I totally understand
why they would.
Why would you give him this money? And we all saying, even if he's an avatar, still got one more 1,800, 1,900, 1,700 season.
Not an avatar anymore.
No.
The avatar stopped when he broke his foot.
Okay.
Then he became
he became
like
mortal.
Everybody else in terms of they don't get through this league unscathed.
But guess what?
Yeah.
We can sit at the table and argue that right now.
Yeah, you can.
He get back out there and have a performance like in the playoff game.
You're right.
Now you 100% right. You ain't 99.9 no more.
Well, but again, even with the playoff game, though, to be fair to him, guy hadn't played in, 2.5 months when he got into that game.
Oh.
Hadn't had a rep on the field for 2.5 months. I don't care how healthy you are, getting back onto that field.
How much better would this be for him right now if he had not come back?
That's right. Oh, it would be even better. Even more better.
Because the question.
But would you have the fanfare with it?
No, I think they question it. They probably almost say, well, you didn't come back.
Because they've been seeing it.
We didn't see it. At least with this, we saw he got healthy, and now we see him running up the hill. I'd say that in a sense. The mystery wouldn't be there from public perception.
I like that. Let me say this. Go ahead, Savage.
No, that's it.
Because I had a back injury. Herniated disc, same thing Caleb Farley had. And I got back in 3 months.
Yeah.
And I was going to sit out the rest of the season and just wait on next season. But my whole thing was I got to get back to show them in these last 12 games that I can rock. Mm-hmm. If not, my money going to go down next year, and I ain't got nothing to argue with.
Right.
So I ran on out there, and it ended up working out to my favor. But if you don't.
Ask Baker Mayfield about that.
Yeah, I agree with that. He should have shut it down.
I totally get it. It's two stories every time. It either works or it doesn't.
For me, it's this. What do you think of Derrick Henry? Like, when you think of Derrick Henry right now, would you rather think MVP candidate when he went out against the Colts, season ended, coming back off of that, should be bigger, stronger than ever? Or does the first memory be, man, Deontay Foreman should have got more carries in that game against Cincinnati? I see your point.
Yeah.
I think there's both sides.
It is, but again, the biggest thing is one season ain't like the other.
No.
And that offensive line got some issues they got to figure out real quick. That's the one thing for me. Now, again, if the box gets softened up by the passing game,
sometimes.
You didn't even say that with a straight face.
You looked at
it
me.
Already processed in my brain. It already processed in my brain on how y'all was gonna react.
So very
Make
much.
sure your feet ain't in your hands, fellas.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Happy baby yoga
I
pose.
sent them last week. Last week I sent them CG in the pose on the changing table. All her money is fully guaranteed. It's all I'm gonna tell you.
Oh, you damn right.
So
We'll come back. We'll continue.
Done with y'all, man.
We'll continue with all of this.
Come on, man.
Yeah, man. Come on, man. Jay Martin, Mo, 104.5 Zone.
It's Dad's Week on 104.5 The Zone, where all week long we are giving you chances to win tickets to events and concerts for you to take Dad to this summer. Some other great prizes as well. Father's Day coming up. We've got the hookup. Listen around 7 a.m., noon, 2 p.m., and 5 p.m. each day this week for your chance to win on 104.5 The Zone.
Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. Quickly, because he's waited patiently. Coach B, what's going on, Coach?
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
What's up?
So look here. I took my son and his little female friend, well, me and my wife did. We kind of did like a little double date kind of thing. So he wanted to go see The Good Boys. So we get in there, and me and my wife was like, okay, the first 5 minutes we was like, nah, we ain't for to sit here and watch no movie about no little kids. I was like, nah, let's go hit up Buffalo Wild Wings or something. So we left them there. I'm trusting that he gonna be on his best behavior, whatever. So we walked out of The Good Boys, and I promise you, when we went to go pick them up, man, they were still laughing at the movie. So we was like, man, what was so funny about the freaking movie? So we end up waiting a little while. We end up getting the DVD, and when I tell you, that freaking movie is hilarious.
Really?
If you have not seen The Good Boys,
I have not.
Please go see it. I promise you, it'll have you bent over.
What?
Hey, man, them kids are hilarious. I'm talking about it ain't what you think it is neither. It ain't. Nah, please check it out. Please.
I can't wait to.
All right, I'm looking it up. I have not seen it because it wouldn't have been my scene, but yep, looking it up. 2019,
like
coming of
B
age.
Phrasing. I know what he did there.
He Coach B.
That's what we're going to do, just random drive-bys all day.
Wow, this is a story right here. It's like it's a bunch of kids in the film, right? But so I just looked up a quick synopsis. 3 sixth grade boys ditch school, embark on an epic journey while carrying accidentally stolen drugs, being hunted by teenage girls, and trying to make their way home in time for a long-awaited party. All right, I'm in.
All right.
That sounds
That
interesting.
sound like what's the name? What's my boy McLovin in there?
McLovin, Superbad.
Well, it's the same people did it.
I've seen.
I'm game.
I've seen a little bit of it. It's very super badish.
I'm good with that.
game.
I'm all right with that.
I'm game for that.
Super bad
love it.
neighbors and sausage party.
It's all in that
So
same
it's a Seth
Rogen
Rogen. So it's a Seth
era.
Rogen joint.
Oh, boy, that,
Literally.
That,
Yeah.
my boy on fire today.
Well done.
Well
done.
What's going on?
NBA jams of the day.
Hey, just because I feel like choosing violence, how thirsty is Jason Tatum for Kobe Bryant in a way where he's looked so soft? This series to me has hurt his reputation.
You know what, Jay? I think it's that, and I also think at some point, man, you got to figure out now. See, this is why I said the coaching would come into it. I thought it would happen earlier in the playoffs. Udoka got to figure out a way to settle them down and make them stop going so fast.
Yeah.
Like, he's head down going, I got to go get a bucket. You got to find some ways to get him in spots for some pin downs, maybe post him up. You got to make him a facilitator too earlier, like he was in game one. Like, just because he wasn't heralded because of the 12 points, 12 assists, man, y'all handled business.
Yeah.
You got to get back to that, man, because everybody now is starting to stand around and watch him because they don't even believe he's going to pass. Like, it's amazing, man. The Golden State defense has shrunk the floor. So now when he drives, they're doing a great job rotating out.
Yeah.
But the pass on the pass out is so late by Tatum is
They got
it's
enough time to
crushing
get there either
it's
defend
crushing
him.
him, man. I'm going to be real. I hate to see this for Tatum because you got to take that next step, but we all know the process is steps to it. Like, you finally got over that Eastern Conference Finals thing. Now you in the finals. So it may just be another stepping block, man. I didn't think Golden State and them could get it done with the depth that
8
Boston had.
years in, Andrew Wiggins has arrived.
You know what? He in a great position, man.
He really is.
Anytime you got that talent and you can go be the third and fourth wheel.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing expected.
And a coach
Yeah.
that gives you time.
Yeah.
Andrew Wiggins has arrived.
In Canada. Canada.
You get it, don't you, Shave?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, AEW for
Culturally,
you right
we
there.
out of that.
Yeah.
We out of that. By the way, speaking of culture, Friday night,
Friday
Jeezy
night.
killed it.
What?
He told me. Yeah, he
it.
told me the most shocking thing was Jeezy actually rapped all his stuff.
Oh,
So many
he
rap
did.
artists don't
Hey,
at
man.
concerts. I'm impressed.
Shut it down. I'm a
Heard
T.I.
T.I.
fan.
then did not.
Shit.
He hurt you. I know.
We're going to talk about it off air because I want to hear
Ron is wounded.
Because that's his guy.
my guy, man.
That's his guy.
It's only a couple people I go see. I go see T.I. every time. That hurt.
He unfortunately left a paper trail.
And now it's an urban legend about him.
3HL's at 3 o'clock. We're back tomorrow.
Right. That was good.
Buck is next for Ramon and Chafe and Ron. I'm Jay Martin.
And remember,
don't put your hands and your feet together.
Yeah, no.
Twitter fingers so your mic is always hot.